To the Putnam County Board of County Commission meeting and the Port Authority meeting. Today is Tuesday, May 12th, and it is 9 a.m. Call the meeting to order, beginning with the invocation by Keith Sieber from New Beginning Baptist Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Newbold. Please stand if you're able to do so and silence your phones.
Let's pray. Lord, we thank you, our gracious Heavenly Father. We thank you, we pray in your Son, Jesus' name, Lord. We come to you today for this county meeting, Lord. We pray for wisdom. We pray for guidance, Lord. We know it is through you that comes. Lord, we thank you and pray for the first responders, pray for the firefighters in our community, Lord, sacrificing for us, protecting our property and our lives, Lord. And bless this meeting, Lord. Help it be fruitful to the business of our county, Lord. And again, it is in your precious Son's name, Jesus Christ, that we pray. In your name we pray, Lord Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, going into the approval of minutes.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the minutes as stated in our packet.
I second that.
We have a motion second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we will recess the BOCC meeting and convene the Port Authority meeting.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the Port Authority minutes as stated in our packet.
second.
We have a motion second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Public comment on Port Authority items only at this time. Do we have any public comments on Port Authority items? All right, seeing none. Any discussion from the board? All right, hearing none. We'll adjourn the Port Authority and reconvene the BOCC meeting. First up, we have a presentation on Problem-Solving Court Month. Judge Mark Johnson from the 7th Judicial Circuit. Commissioner Harvey will read the proclamation. Judge, if you have anybody that wants to come up, they're welcome to do so. It's up to you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, and good morning, fellow commissioners. Today's proclamation, Putnam County Proclamation number 2026-036, Problem Solving Court Month. Whereas problem-solving courts have been restoring lives, reuniting families, and making communities safer for more than 30 years. And whereas problem-solving courts provide focus and leadership for community-wide partnerships, bringing together public safety and health professionals in combating substance abuse, mental illness, and other issues present in the criminal justice realm. And whereas research shows that the problem-solving courts improve treatment outcomes and do so at a lower cost than any other justice system strategies. And whereas since its inception in 2002, 275 individuals have completed the requirements of Putnam County Drug Court Program. And whereas since 2017, when St. John's and Putnam County Veterans Treatment Court began, nearly 150 justice-involved veterans have completed program requirements. And whereas judges, attorneys, treatment and rehabilitation professionals, law enforcement, community supervision personnel, researchers, and educators join to form healing communities. And therefore be it resolved by the Putnam County Board of County Commissioners declare that Drug Court Month be established during the month of May. Madam Chair, I move this proclamation forward.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
What I'd like to do, thank you very much for this great honor for our drug court program. What I'd like to do first is I'd like to introduce, if you don't mind, some of our drug court team. If I can have you stand, Ms. Jackie Pollock, who is our drug court coordinator, Ms. Maria Robles, who is our representative from the Department of Corrections, Probation, and Parole, and Ms. Suzette Young, who is one of our counselors with SMA Healthcare. If it weren't for these individuals, drug court, we wouldn't be able to do drug court. They're the ones that make it happen. And all of our drug court participants, they wouldn't get the help that they need. So thank you to them for the great work that they do. I want to thank you also, Commissioners, for your support. This is not simply a matter of support, it's an investment that you're making in our community. There are many, many men and women who desperately need the help that drug court provides. It gives them hope, and it makes our community better. And most of all, it saves lives. And so I thank each of you for the investment that you make in our drug court program, because there are many people that benefit greatly from that. One of the things that we would like to do, and I know that Judge McGillen is here on behalf of the Veterans Court program, so I don't want to interrupt some words that he may have, but we do have one of our drug court members that would like to address you at the appropriate time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very briefly, I want to add my thanks to that of Mark Johnson, Judge Johnson. He's taken over a great program here, and I know he's going to run it with excellence. He and I both come from a prosecutorial background, he in the state and myself in the military, where the whole idea was lock them up for many years. But we figured out that that doesn't always work, and especially with folks that have drug issues and mental health, especially with our veterans, many of them who are suffering from PTSD, have had traumatic brain injuries, and are facing long-term, lifelong challenges. And the fact that you all have joined with the St. Johns County and formed the Joint Veterans Treatment Court, I really want to thank you very much for that. I brought up a couple of my veteran mentors with me. That's the secret sauce of Veterans Treatment Court. We also have treatment providers and probation and such, but in Veterans Court we add the secret sauce of our veteran mentors. Those are volunteers from the community who are veterans themselves and who stand by their participant as a battle buddy or a shipmate, and really are an extra added benefit to the program. But thank you very much for everything that you've done for our program, and more importantly that we can do for the citizens of Putnam and St. Johns counties.
Thank you.
I want to introduce you. This is Joey Patterson. He's one of our drug court participants, and he has prepared some remarks that he would like to present to you.
Good morning, Joey.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. Like you said, I'm Joey Patterson. I'm a participant in drug court. I'm not much on public speaking, so I'm going to do some public reading of my own words. if
That's what
okay.
we do too. Don't worry about
Cool.
it.
So I'm here to share what this program truly means to me, not just to me, but to people like me who are trying to change their lives for good. Before drug court, my life was controlled by poor decisions, unhealthy thinking patterns, and the cycle that so many people in addiction know too well. It wasn't just about substance use, it was about the way I thought, the way I reacted to stress, and the choices I made when things got difficult. Drug court didn't just make me stop using, it forced me to look at myself honestly. It gave me structure, accountability, and tools that I never had before. It taught me how to handle pressure without running from it, how to take responsibility for my actions, and how to start rebuilding the parts of my life that I had damaged. Because of this program, I've been able to repair relationships with my family, become more present as a father, and begin building a life that I can actually be proud of. For the first time in a long time, I'm not just staying clean, I'm learning how to live right. I want to be clear about something. This program's not easy, and it shouldn't be. It holds us accountable, it challenges us, and when we fall short, there are consequences, and I've certainly experienced this part firsthand. But that's exactly why it works. Drug court doesn't give people a free pass, although we feel like it when we're in the jail. It gives us a real chance, a chance to break cycles that would otherwise lead to repeated arrest, incarceration, and continued strain on our communities and resources. Programs like this don't just change individuals, they strengthen families, reduce crime, and ultimately save taxpayer money by helping people become more productive members of society instead of repeat offenders. I stand here today as someone still in the process, still learning, but fully committed to doing better, and I can tell you with confidence that without drug court, I would not be on the path I am today. For most of my life, I've mastered surviving, doing what it took to just get by, but because of this program, I've realized something important. It's time to start living. This program gave me direction when I didn't have any, it gave me accountability when I needed it most, and it gave me an opportunity to build a future instead of continuing to destroy it. I'm grateful for that opportunity, and I'm committed to making the most of it. Thank you for your time and the support of the program.
Good.
Thank you, Joey.
If you don't mind, I would like to have all of our drug court participants, if you would please stand.
Oh, wow.
We are proud of Joey and the rest of our participants and the progress that they have made in our program. One last thing before I conclude. I would be remiss to not honor the legacy of Judge Art Nichols and Judge Libby Morris. Judge Nichols started this program many decades ago. Judge Morris took his place when Judge Nichols retired. So I know that I have some big shoes to fill, but I am eager for that challenge, and I thank you again for the support that you've given to our program. Thank you.
Commissioner, we have a commissioner that wants to say a few words. Commissioner Alexander.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Judge Johnson, thank you for accepting the challenge to lead this program. At the request of our chairman, when I first came on the board, I went to my first drug court graduation. And I've been to another one since then, actually the one that Libby's retirement graduation. And each one has touched me because one actually had a family member graduate. The second, I had a friend of mine from my 20s graduate. And in that same program, we had one of our teammates' fathers graduate. So I understand the hard work, but I understand that the program works, and I want to thank you, and I want to let all of the participants know that it's very challenging, but it's rewarding, and I'm proud of every one of you that has accepted that challenge because it changes your life, and it actually gives you your life back.
Well said. Good job. Thank you. All right, y'all want to come up for a picture?
Sure. Stay up here and, whatever, they're all coming, so I guess we better stay up here. Madam Chair, should you go down front? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Hey, how are you?
Make room for the chair, lady. How are you? She will.
I'm excited.
Hey, sir. Oh, yes, how you doing, buddy? How are you? Good. You're fine. She'll tell us where to go.
Yes, sir.
She'll let us know we're from the wrong spot.
Yes, sir. Been talking about it a few times.
How are you? All right, get ready, everybody. Congratulations. All right? All right, good. You too. Thank you very much. All right, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Yes, I appreciate y'all. Thank you. Yes, sir. Good luck. Yes, sir. All right. Thank you, sir.
I've been. Yeah, good deal. Well,
Been some time ago.
That young man could read his phone from way down there. Oh, yeah. Good for you.
Yeah.
I'd have to have that. Yep.
Thank you. Next up, we have Gerald Donnelly, Veteran of Foreign Wars, Post 3349.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The Veterans of Foreign War Post 3349 is here today to honor our responders for the year for the firemen and policemen and EMT. We're proud of all the first responders of the county and the city who keep us safe every day. To present the awards, I have Gerald Schuler, who will go through the awards, and the first award being given today will be to the Sheriff of the Year. Gerald, thank you.
I'm not quite sure how I always end up with this privilege of presenting these awards. It's always a pleasure to do so, though. For our Deputy of the Year,
There she is.
sure is
I see her.
She's over that way.
Is she even in here? There we go. Miss Holly Griffith, come on up here, please. Well, here's the sheriff. Okay, we got him by surprise, I do believe. And I'm going to read this, if that's all right with you, Sheriff, if I do the reading of this. I'd like to formally nominate Holly Griffith, our Community Relations Deputy of the Putnam County Sheriff's Office. Deputy Griffith has consistently demonstrated exceptional dedication to fostering positive relationships between the Sheriff's Office and our community. Through her outreach efforts, programs, and initiatives, she has strengthened our community trust, encouraged public engagement, and exemplified the values of service and commitment that the Veterans of Foreign Wars represents. When called upon, no matter the task, Deputy Griffith is always there, ready to assist with professionalism, dedication, and a positive attitude. Her willingness to step up and support both the community and her colleagues further exemplifies why she is an outstanding candidate for the Veteran of Foreign Wars Award. Her professionalism, enthusiasm, and tireless efforts make her an outstanding candidate for this recognition. I wholeheartedly endorse her nomination and believe she is highly deserving of this honor. And this comes from Allison Walters Merritt for the Sheriff of the... So, Miss Griffith, let's give you your plaque here. I say Miss Deputy. Deputy Holly Griffith, special recognition of your hard work and dedication to the citizens of Putnam County. The Veterans of Foreign Wars would like to present you with this plaque to hang on you, your I Love Me wall. Also get this handy dandy little certificate too.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
You want to do one at a time? Okay.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
I love me wall, I like that.
Yeah.
No, Holly wants to do it individually. She doesn't want anybody stealing her sunlight. Open it up. It just looks like a folder like that. There you go. Yeah, now it looks important.
Put your plaque in front of it. There you go.
Oh. He's got his club with him.
Stop chewing your gum.
Allison will tell you what to do.
I will. All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm gonna do one with mine now. And here we go. 1, 2, 3. One more. Everybody tell Holly happy birthday. 1, 2, 3. There.
Congratulations.
Next up is our firefighter of the year. If you go ahead and come forward. Thank you. I was going to say a few words, but afterwards, or would you like me to do what I just did? You got to do, yes. Again, it's my pleasure. For our these are all our first responders that we're honoring today. And this is a especially sweet one here. The firefighter Boomer Davis. We had a number of people that could be awarded this particular one for this on actions which occurred and on June 22nd of 2025. It was a residential structure fire with entrapment of people. I'm just going to read the nomination summary that was presented. On the evening of June 22nd, 2025 at approximately 8:30 p.m., multiple units were dispatched to a reported structure fire with confirmed victims trapped inside. Dispatch information indicated that the only viable exit was blocked by heavy fire, creating an immediate life-threatening situation. Upon arrival, firefighter Boomer Davis demonstrated exceptional courage, leadership, and composure under extreme conditions. As part of his initial entry team, firefighter Davis worked alongside Engine 7's lead firefighter, Rescue 82's firefighter, and Engine 14's firefighters to gain access through the master bedroom window after removing a window-mounted air conditioning unit. Once inside the smoke-charged environment, visibility was getting near zero, heat conditions were worsening, and the team faced immediate decision-making steps. Despite these hazards, firefighter Davis pressed forward with determination and focus, performing a coordinated search that led to the successful rescue of 3 trapped occupants. His actions were instrumental in locating and removing the victims to safety before the structure became untenable. For this, the firefighter Davis exhibited exceptional bravery by entering a hostile environment with known life hazards to attempt rescue. His technical proficiency in executing forcible entry, coordinated search, and victim removal techniques under fire conditions. Also, a team-oriented professionalism, maintained clear communication and coordination with other firefighters during a complex rescue operation, and showed composure under pressure, ensuring that rescue priorities were achieved without compromise to crew safety or operational integrity. The outcome of this incident, 3 lives saved, is a direct reflection of firefighter Davis's dedication to duty, training, and selfless commitment to the mission of saving lives and protecting the public. Without the immediate, decisive, and heroic actions taken by firefighter Davis and his team, the incident could have resulted in multiple fatalities. Firefighter Davis, we'd just like to honor you with this award and your certificate of appreciation. And your plaque that says, in special recognition of your hard work and dedication to the citizens of Putnam County, veterans of foreign wars, the United States Post 3344, 49.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
I just want to take 1 minute to recognize Boomer. He is one of the first 3 of our public safety trainee program that we started a year and a half, 2 years ago. Local young man came to us in an apprentice program. We put him in our public safety trainee position, and he continued his education, got all his certifications, and you see the outcome. So, thank you, Boomer.
Photo.
And if you have anybody else you want to come up, please welcome them.
Congratulations. You have any family members? Congratulations.
Did you run from this?
Sure. You come get it?
Boomer, you want? Mr. Wright? I forgot to give the 1, 2.
Already up here.
I see that, don't have to call you. That's right. I did the same true. I got one question.
Yes, sir.
When I was reading this, what's that stand for?
Battalion chiefs.
All right, our final award of the day is our paramedic of the year. I had to think about that for a second. I'm going to read the award nomination here. Matt Lucher should be awarded Paramedic of the Year. He's shown time and time again his knowledge, experience, and dedication to protecting the citizens of Putnam. Anytime I or anyone have spoken to at my station, all enjoy working with Lucher whenever he picks up with me or them. Mr. Matt Lucher goes above and beyond to teach what he has learned to new and experienced employees alike. He's the obvious choice for this award. I believe even the battalion chiefs and captains would agree that after he was chosen to help clear a struggling medic when it falls outside his normal job description, he goes above and beyond for the department and the citizens of this county, and he does it all with a good attitude. He is the type of employee our leadership should be fighting to keep here in Putnam. And I'd just like to say, EMT Matt Lucher, what a wonderful award this is, and that we appreciate each and every hour you spend on the job. So thank you, sir. Here's your certificate of appreciation and Putnam County Paramedic of the Year plaque in special recognition of your hard work and dedication to the citizens of Putnam County. The Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States Post 3349 like to present you with this great honorable plaque.
Thank you very much.
I just want to thank you, everyone. It is an honor to serve the community. I appreciate it. That's a lot better. To serve this community, I've been here 7 long years. I've got to see the growing that we've done from the fire rescue side, from the community paramedic side, to everything we've done together. It is great. We are moving forward to serve the community as a whole. If we all chip in together, we can all carry the stone together. Thank you.
Thank you.
I took 3 already. 1, 2, 3. And again. And 1 more.
Thank you.
I want to thank the commissioners for letting us present these awards today. It's a great honor to honor our first responders for the year.
Well, we
Thank you
appreciate
again.
VFW coming forward and always honoring our first responders. Thank you. All right, we would have had Human Resources come up, but we're going to pull that item. The person is not here. Next, we have Finance presentation of the audit. I don't see Matt here. Who's doing that? Do we need to take a quick recess while that loads up? Yeah, okay, we'll take a few minutes. Recess. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. You ready?
Yes, sir, you may go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Brendan McKittrick. I'm a partner with James Moore and Company. I've also got Zach Shalfor in the audience. He's a partner and head of our government practice. Appreciate the opportunity to be here today. I do have a PowerPoint slide deck that kind of summarizes the financial statements that were issued and that we audited for fiscal year 2025 for the county. Before we get into the presentation itself, I did want to thank the board for the opportunity to perform the audit again this year. Also want to thank everyone involved in the audit, so the clerk, Ryan, Logan, their team, as well as all the constitutional officers. It's really a team effort to get through an audit, so I appreciate everyone's hard work. The county does go through a certificate program through the GFOA, so there's some additional requirements there as well. So not only is it hard to go through an audit, but there's additional hoops that we jump through, or the team from the county jumps through as well. And to give you a little bit of context, we do audit 16 counties. Of the 16, you are the third county to get issued. So it kind of shows you the timeliness of how quick we're able to turn around and get the items that we need to get through the audit. One thing I like to remind the board is that these financial statements are your financial statements. However, as auditors, we also include audit reports. This is really a slide summarizing what those audit reports are. The first one is where we express our opinion really over the reliability of the numbers that you're looking at in your financial statements. We do have what's called an unmodified opinion or a clean opinion. It's really kind of the best opinion we can provide over a set of financial statements. The second report here, the single audit report. So the county did have grant expenditures exceeding a certain threshold. Because of that, there's some additional testing that we're required to perform. If there were issues or findings identified, we'd communicate that, but as you can see on this slide, there were no findings. The third report, internal control and compliance report. So as part of our process, we're required to understand your internal controls with regards to financial reporting and accounting. This is an opportunity if we did identify what we consider to be material weaknesses or areas of non-compliance, we could communicate that, but as you can see on this slide, there were no items in that report either. In the fourth report, the Chapter 10 550 report or management letter to the Auditor General, there's some more required communication that the state asks of us, and there's opportunities to provide other recommendations, maybe not issues and internal controls, but other areas of improvement for financial management. But as you can see here, there are no additional recommendations or modifications to the report. And then finally, the examination report just indicating the county's in compliance with specific state statutes. So I mentioned earlier the constitutional officers. This slide is really kind of acknowledging that we do issue 5 other reports as well as part of the audit. So again, going through that process and working with them as well. This is a slide just summarized if we did have any written comments included in any of those reports. And as you can see, there were no additional comments on any of those reports. Moving over to the numbers, this is with regards to your general fund for the county. So this is your main operating fund. Looking at the fund balance with regards to the various categories over the last 4 years. You can see here it's got the biggest change having to do with the assigned fund balance from year to year, but that's really related to the next year's budget. What we do to give you kind of a better understanding too is we look at the assigned and unassigned number and we compare it to expenditures and transfers out. So that's what this slide is doing as a percentage. So this year it's at about 44.7%. What we do is we compare it to what the GFOA or Government Finance Officers Association recommends as a minimum. So think of it as a floor of 16.7%. But they also, acknowledge the fact there's other needs too, as far as capital requirements or, we are in Florida, there could be a need for reserves for emergency purposes as well. So again, thinking of the 16.7 as just the floor. You don't want to go beneath that, but obviously you can be above that. Moving over to your enterprise funds, this is kind of your what we also call the proprietary funds of the unrestricted net position. Kind of looking at, again, similar to that last slide, but with this on the enterprise funds, we always like to say this is like half the picture. The other half is really the infrastructure in those funds themselves, so making sure you continue to invest in that infrastructure as well. That being said, this year for FY25, the county did invest about $3.4 million in capital asset additions with regards to these enterprise funds. And then just some other highlights, your other governmental funds, overall fund balance of about $56 million with an increase of about $10 million, and highlighting the fact that we had no exceptions in testing related to those restricted funds with regards to the appropriate purpose of those funds as well. And then the net pension liability, that's related to your Florida retirement system, really kind of pushed down from the Governmental Accounting Standards Board that we were required to include that as a liability in your financial statements. However, there's no budgetary impact with regards to that liability, and really the budgetary impact are the required contributions you all budget for and make every year. And with that, I will stop and answer any questions.
Are there any questions for the presenter? Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized.
Thank you for your presentation. This is the second year that you guys have presented since I've been in office. Is it typical of other counties that you find issues or that need to be addressed? Because I've seen 2 years in a row we haven't had any issues that needed to be addressed or any findings. Is that common amongst counties, or is that isolated to the job that our staff and our team is doing?
Typically, we have at least 1 or 2 comments, you know, especially on the, when we think county-wide on the
Sure.
constitutional officers. So the one slide where we show kind of a, you know, all the comments or written comments where it's all zeros, that kind of shows just where you're at with regards to kind of the financial reporting and accounting countywide. So yeah, I would say it's, you know, typically we'd see at least 1 or 2 comments, if not more.
I guess that's kind of a testament to the job that the team's doing here at Putnam County, because since I've been in office, I've become more accustomed to the volume of expenditures through the county, and it is just massive. And to see that happen and not have any dings in our armor, I want to commend staff. That's pretty impressive.
All right, thank you. Mr. Suggs, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Apologize. Just want to follow up on comments from Commissioner Alexander. You're absolutely right. The amount of work and labor that goes into making sure that we follow our procurement ordinance, you know, I'll say it, and I say it every time I get opportunity. We have the right staff in place to make sure that we do things the right way. Mm-hmm. And I know sometimes, even with U5, you come and you ask for something, and we have to vet it out, and we have to sometimes even say no. But a testament to U5 as well, that we do these things and we do them the right way, because these are taxpayer dollars, these are public dollars, these are not our dollars. And so I too want to commend not only the 5 of you for the job that you do with for us, but also the procurement ordinance and how we've updated that a couple of times, because that is the Bible for which we live by in the financial side of things. And so, you know, the hard work that's done by Ms. Young and her staff, Mr. Grimes and his staff, and administration overall, and to the folks that actually are on the front line asking for things and pushing these things forward for us to be able to do what we do day in and day out to provide the service, but also do it in a way that we absolutely follow our own procurement ordinance. And so when we get an audit where there is no comments,
Right.
no findings I think this is the second year in a row, you know, that should be a testament to the work that's being done here. So Commissioner Alexander and the board, thank you for your comments, because that is a big deal. You know, and to Matt Reynolds, Honorable Matt Reynolds, who couldn't be here today,
Yeah.
him and his staff are phenomenal to work with. I know that there's a monthly meeting in Ms. Young's office with Matt's staff, and Ms. Logan and Ms. Ryan are phenomenal folks. So anytime we have a question, we can reach out to them and get the information that we need and the answers that we need. So it's absolutely a team effort between our office and their office. So thank them as well. And I appreciate it, and thank you for allowing my comments.
Thank you. And if you think about the amount of departments, the amount of constitutionals and their departments, it's quite an undertaking. And like you said, we've got good policies in place and good people in place to help with that. And I'll say it, in comparison to entities that are smaller than us, they've certainly had audits that have been quite large with opinions and that kind of thing. So, and comments. So I think having 2 years of clean audit is phenomenal. So thank you to staff. Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And, you know, in today's world when sound bites seem to matter and Facebook is governed by the keyboard warriors, this report right here shows that there's no hiding the football here. There's nothing like that. All of our stuff is out there, transparent. You can find it on the web. You can pull a book open. You can call, ask a question. you know, but when we deal with this kind of money, these kind of grants, these kind of funding sources, and we find no findings at all, I applaud our staff, I applaud our constitutionals, our finance department. And yes, I'm getting told sometimes no too, because it doesn't meet the litmus test. But that's what we need to be able to be told is no sometimes, and then find other ways to make things happen. So it's a joy to be here. It's a joy to sit in this seat. And it's a joy to see these numbers and to see no findings from anyone. And that excites me more than anything. You know, I always told my staff when I had my office, you might steal from me, but you're going to darn sure work for it. And we didn't have that problem. And so I appreciate your staff, what you did, and I appreciate all of our staff, and encourage the public. If you have any questions, don't listen to the sound bites. Call us, look online. These reports are there. You can find out anything you want to find out about your government, because it is your money at the end of the day. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Julianne. It's not on the agenda, but she has some great announcement that she would like to share about animal services.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate you letting me take a point of order out of order. I want to recognize if our animal services officers would come up to the front. I'm going to brag on you guys for a few minutes. So this is our street operations team, and Madison just recently joined the street ops team, but prior to her joining the team, all of them went and attended the Animal Control Officer Certification course, which is a 40-hour course that's approved by the Florida Animal Control Association, which is also known as Florida Animal Protection Advocacy Association. It meets the certification requirements under Florida Statutes 828.274. They must attend all sessions and pass all state exams with a score of 75% or higher to receive the certification. And standing before you, all of them took it, with the exception of Madison, who's scheduled for the next round, and all of them successfully passed it. So for the first time in animal services history, we have 6 certified animal services officers on our team and serving our citizens. And so I want to commend them. It was a long week with a lot of information thrown at them. Some scored higher than others, but you know, we won't call out anybody. But we're very proud of them and the work that they do and their commitment to their jobs, their career, and our citizens. And I just really wanted to brag on them this morning.
Yeah. That's exciting. We're always, as a board, we have always been trying to, since this board's been put together, move animal services forward. We've done a good job, and you guys just continue to raise the bar, and we appreciate that. And having this certification, it's not just a piece of paper. It really means a lot to us that you were able to do this, and that you continue to get your education and continue to be certified. Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
Well, it's a great team we have here. I want to especially recognize Erin, who is the leader of this group. She could have just sent her staff on. She went and got certified as well. She leads by example, and she's got one heck of a crew, and we're in good hands, and I appreciate all you do. Thank you.
Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized.
Yes, ma'am. Guys, don't take Ms. Holmes' comments too heavily. As a former educator, Ms. McNeil probably understands what my kids told me. C's get degrees.
C is for college. Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank y'all for the job you do. I know it's probably daunting at times, to say the least, that you get the calls, especially the calls or the comments I get. And then we find out that they might not be as true as they're portrayed to be true. And you're out there searching for a black and white dog that might not be black and white at all, or has been notoriously ghosted in the community for months. I mean, I can only tell you how I get the call. But since I've been here in 2014, animal control building was on the top of the list. We've set money aside for that, and God knows it took us a long time to get there. But we have a facility worthy now, correct? We have the opportunity to always do better. And I applaud each and every one of you for your hard work and dedication, because it is probably the unsung group of people that go out there and make our community safe. You do that, but we appreciate it. I wish we didn't have to have you. You always hear me say that, and it's not because I don't care about you. It's I wish everybody took care of their animals like I take care of mine, and probably like you take care of yours, but they don't. And sometimes circumstances get in the way and we have to intervene. But truly, thank you all from the bottom of my heart for what you do for the animals and the citizens of Putnam County. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Congratulations. We appreciate everything y'all are doing. Thank you. You want to get a picture? You want to get a picture? Wait, we want to get a picture.
David's the man.
Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. And again. One more. You'll be standing here by yourself. Congratulations.
I do want to note also that in the first quarter of the year, we had 110 animals that were adopted through animal services. So people, that's a big number. People don't realize it is fluid. It's ebbs and flows for sure, but at the end of the day, they are getting animals adopted and making silly videos or whatever needs to be done to get them done. But 110 in the first quarter of this year alone have been adopted. All right, going into consent agenda, public comment on agenda items. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow citizens an opportunity to bring matters to the attention of the board. It is not reasonable to expect that the board will engage in debate or deliberation about matters on which the board has received no prior information as part of the agenda. Please limit your time to 3 minutes. Public comment cards are conveniently placed at the meeting room entrance and should be submitted prior to the meeting to the deputy clerk who sits to the right of the podium. Are there any comment cards on agenda items? We will have an opportunity on item 8 for public comment on miscellaneous items. All right, consent. Any commissioners wishing to pull anything? Commissioner Harvey.
Yes, Commissioner, item B, Madam Chair.
All right. Commissioner Alexander.
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to pull item E.
Commissioner Newbold. Commissioner Pelletier.
I have nothing.
And I'll pull item C. C as in cat.
Madam Chair, move approval of the consent agenda of items A and E.
D.
I'm sorry?
D as in dog.
I thought you pulled
E,
D.
E got pulled.
B,
E.
okay.
Okay, let's start again. A and D.
A and D.
Yes, sir.
E.
No, sir.
No.
Just A and D.
I got screwed up. Somehow.
Alexander pulled E.
Again, I can't hear you down there, so I gotta get his volume switch.
All right, A. You.
A and E.
D.
D. A
I
as in
second.
dog. D as in
You
dog.
can't hear her either.
Dog.
Okay, we got it. A and D.
Dog.
We have a motion to
Madam
approve A
Second,
and D.
I second at A and D.
A and D.
Did you say A and E?
D.
Stop.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, beginning with item B as in boy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to go on record. We had a lively insurance committee meeting on this topic, and I support this topic even though I voted no in the meeting. And the only reason I voted no, and I'll tell you why, is because I think we as a board need to do more than what this item is going to. If you listened to the meeting or you were there, it was talking about this particular item. But we found out during the meeting that some of the other drugs that People One or our Blue Cross and Blue Shield were not covering concerned me a lot. So I would like us to revisit one day, and I don't know if today's the proper way, or send it back to the insurance committee, asking them to look at providing the same sort of coverage, the same amount for those drugs not covered by People One or Florida Blue after the appeals process is exhausted. And let's look at helping all of our employees who are under that, not just a certain number here. And I don't know what that number looks like, but I could say that if somebody's not covered under a certain medicine, our goal is to get them healthy. And if we can provide $200 for them for this product, we should be able to provide $200 for the others. So probably, in my opinion, we need to ask the insurance committee to come back together and look at expanding that for that reason, Madam Chair.
All right. I do have a question before we go into further comments. What is the financial impact of this if it were to be passed?
We don't have that. We don't know how many people will choose to participate.
Okay, I understand that. So what is the maximum that we would be, that we would have to be obligated for? I mean, it's hard to vote on something when I don't know what's the fiscal impact. I don't know if it's $1,000. I don't know if it's 10,000. I don't know if it's 100,000.
So just from sitting in other meetings, not here on this issue, there are estimates on short-term and long-term impact, because even though there's short-term cost, essentially, even though it's designed for one purpose or it's being used for one purpose recently, there's so many long-term health benefits that echo down, which is why many insurance companies are supporting it, and I think why they're paying for it now. So things like decreased heart issues, decreased insulin dependence, all those things later on, then most insurance companies believe are a net reduction in what the cost would be.
Okay. I mean, it's hard for me to understand that we don't have a number as far as what is the immediate cost. I know we can't determine the long-term cost, but how many employees do we have that would, I mean, how many employees do we have that could be eligible to get this medicine? I guess that's where I'm at, because I don't know I can't get there with the cost. Commissioner Ali, Newbold, you're recognized.
Thank you. You asked an important question, but it is almost an unanswerable question at this point in time. And I supported this because, it's a participation program between the county and the employee. I think we'll be able to look at this a year or so down the road. We'll have a good idea of who the potential participants are. It'll take a little longer for the money to come back to us, but it is such a wide-reaching drug. Over time, it's going to save us money in a substantial way. And given that, I think what Commissioner Harvey mentioned, pulling other drugs into this type of philosophy over time, I think would be a big help to our employees for their quality of life, their health, but it will also save us and our taxpayers money over time. So I would encourage us to look at including others into this as we move forward, but do it in a measured approach. Thank you.
Commissioner Alexander.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I understand your questions from the financial standpoint of that. Obviously, we can't provide a hard cost on that because we don't have a firm number of how many people are going to participate, and short of conducting a survey of all of our employees, we won't have a tangible number unless we did that. But it sounds as though our attorney, Mr. Commando, has already been through this process with other counties, and they have seen a net return on it as far as a net benefit overall, but it does take time. And I can see his point as far as the reduction in reliance on other drugs, a reduction in other health problems that can be attributed to weight loss and weight gain. So I understand where he's coming. It would be a lot easier to say yes if I did have a finite cost, but based on what he's told me and some of the research I've done, I'm going to have to I agree with what he said. So I've done some research on it as well, but That's where I'm at. As far as the list of drugs, like Mr. Harvey was talking about, are you proposing we have a new list of drugs that are added, or are we adding drugs individually as the need arises? How are you proposing we do that?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Alexander, what I'd like for us to do is, go ahead and decide on this issue today. But I think what we should go back, well, I know what we should do. We should go back to the insurance committee and say, these are some of our employees that are not being covered by the certain drugs after an appeal process. And after that process, should we give them the same benefit? My point is, what if Joe takes a medicine that's not covered under Florida Blue, but it helps him stay healthy on our plan and it doesn't cost us money? Shouldn't he be entitled to the same $200 benefit? I would say yes, he should, because he's going to avoid that long-term cost on our plan. So today I'm all for it, but I would like for us to today say, hey, insurance committee, let's go back and visit this in the future.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yeah, you still have the floor.
Okay, so I agree with what you're saying, but it would be hard to go drug by drug per se, but could we not develop a stipend or a set aside for a certain dollar amount that would help, whether it be GLP-1 or some other new drug that came out that was beneficial to only one or two people? Because, we're going to have unique health issues that only one person in our network may use that drug, but we're going to have to go through this whole process. I think it might be easier if we just had a certain sum that we approved for a specific drug for a specific person. That would be my position on that.
Madam Chair, may I?
Yes.
So I agree with you, Commissioner Alexander. I think that's right on. I think what we got to do today, though, is we're going to do 200 per vial medication. Well, Julianne, if you don't mind me asking, what does that vial last? Is it a 4-week vial? Is it a 6-week or is it an 8-week? And my point is, then we know what that number is at the end of the year that we can set aside. So when employee Joe goes to administration and says, I've exhausted my appeal, I want a $200 stipend for 6 vials or whatever that medication, then we know that number.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Ms. Young, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. A couple of items. One, the average vial will last the average person 6 to 9 weeks based on Dr. Rigdon's advice. 2 would be, I would caution the board and the insurance committee against overturning appeals. Appeals are made based on FDA guidance. So if FDA says this isn't a safe medication and we end up saying we're going to buy it anyways, then there is some concern there. Alternatively, what I believe I'm hearing as the desire from several of you would be a solution where the county pays a flat amount of money into every employee's FSA account. And then they could spend their FSA dollars on any medication, be it something they have to buy out of network or in network or any other related health product covered under an FSA card.
It seems kind of costly to add an additional dollar amount to the FSA account because not everybody uses the same drugs, not everybody uses every drug. Could we go on a case-by-case basis where the insurance committee, they could bring it forward if it's a drug that's not approved, and as long as it meets the criteria for safety with the FDA? Because not everybody needs another $200, and not everybody wants to pay the other $200 across the board.
Could we? Absolutely.
Because I don't want to increase costs for everybody, but I want everybody to have the drugs that they need to improve their health.
So I think the concern that's being referenced is not necessarily a drug that's not covered by Florida Blue. It's a drug that hasn't been approved for the patient based on the FDA's guidance as to how we get there. We encounter that routinely.
Okay.
If the patient complies with the medical guidance of obtaining that drug, then they're approved for it.
Yes.
The other thing that we see is that we have employees who are on the low plan that want a brand name drug, and they're denied for the brand name alternative because they opted to have a generic plan. If we start allowing those, if we're going to allow everyone to have a brand name drug, then we need to totally eliminate the low plan and make everybody pay for brand name drugs. Otherwise, you've got people on a low plan paying in a low copay amount, getting the high benefit amount.
Yep.
So it's a little more complex than, and that's why the alternative option would be to determine, to load everybody's FSA card with whatever you'd like to allocate to an employee. Otherwise, it's gonna be very hairy in an insurance committee. I'm a bean counter, so I'm gonna be the first one to tell you, I don't trust myself to make a medical decision as to whether or not a drug is right or wrong for someone, and we should add it to, plan. If you've got a doctor saying, hey, we're gonna run this program, we're gonna monitor in blood work, there's gonna be lifestyle changes, there's gonna be all of these things, education happening, that's one program.
Right. So, based on what I'm hearing and what the discussion we're having, I would say that we table that issue and we move forward with the vote on the GLP, and maybe we can address this again at the next insurance meeting where we have some professionals in the room other than just commissioners.
Completely up to you guys.
Okay, so I have a few things to say. Are you done?
Yes, ma'am.
A couple points, and the way I feel about this is we're paying to say no, then we're paying again to say yes. The county contracts with the pharmaceutical benefit manager to control costs and apply clinical rules. If the PBM denies the GLP-1 drugs like Wegovy or Ozempic, then the county hires a third party. Now we're potentially hiring a third party program to provide the same drugs anyway. So that's duplicate spending, and it's a fragmented system. Additionally, taxpayer dollars are going to the health plan. They're going to the PBM to manage and restrict drugs. Now we're a third-party vendor to bypass those restrictions. There are people currently who are on our Florida Blue who get the GLP-1 drugs. There are actually over 200 people that get those, according to the report I got. So we're layering costs instead of streamlining care. It undermines the plan we already have put in place. The PBM is hired to evaluate safety, control cost, apply consistent criteria, and now we're going around that process. So now we've weakened our oversight and we created conflicting standards. So if we don't trust the PBM's decision, then why are we paying them? A couple other things is there's no clear cost on control strategy. GLP-1 drugs are among the most expensive medication on the market. Creating a workaround program removes negotiating and at risk open-ended spending. This creates a backdoor with no clear guardrails. And here's the one that really gets me, the inequity and confusion for our employees. Employees may ask, why was my prescription denied, but then approved somewhere else? Different pathways can lead to unequal access, frustration, and perception of fairness. We have people that probably, if they had $200, they would actually be able to sign up for our insurance. We have people that don't have insurance, and I have to ask the question, do we know if they received $200, would they be able to then go, you know what, now I can afford my health insurance? And so for me, it's an equity thing. I don't think we're being fair to all of our employees. We're taking a certain sector and saying, we're going to subsidize your medicine for $200, but we're not doing that across the board. We're not giving equal service to everybody. If somebody is able to get a GLP-1, they can go through their Florida Blue already and get it through the process that we already have in place. We've also recently added the People One, where people can get the FDA-approved drug, the Wegovy, so that we have processes in place if people want to get on GLP-1s and if their doctor approves it and recommends it. Then why are we going around the process that we already have in place? So those are my comments. I just think that if if the system's broken, you know, we either fix the system, but we don't work around it. So I just have a hard time with paying multiple vendors to manage the same issue in different ways. It's not efficient, it's not transparent, and to me, it's not a responsible use of taxpayer dollars. If we believe in covering these medicines, we should fix the plan and not work around it. So those are my comments. If somebody wants to make a motion, you're welcome to do so.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a comment.
Sure.
Some of these statements that you just made were the first I've heard of it. And I appreciate, that's our job, is to sit up here and deliberate, correct? And we can't do it in the back room when we're not going to do it that way. I think we all want to make our employees better and healthier, but I would think, based on what I'm hearing today, that we need to table this item and send it back to our insurance committee and then decide where we're going to go with the other items too. I think this is a lot more complicated than just, you know, saying today that we're going to cover it. Although I do want to cover it, I just think it's a bigger, we need to get a bigger conversation and more people, like Commissioner Alexander mentioned, more people in the room to have that discussion.
Thank you. It's just not equitable to me. Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized.
While I am for the idea of making our people healthier, and if there's a path to get there, I'm definitely for it. But some of the things that you said raised some questions to me about how do we get there. It sounds like we have some routes in place that I wasn't aware of, but I think before we could take a vote on it, I'm going to have to agree with Mr. Harvey. I would like to sit back through. So being totally transparent, I did miss the last insurance meeting. So I would like to revisit this topic in that insurance meeting, as well as the coverage of the other drugs. So I don't think we're in a position where we can take a vote on this today.
Are you making a motion to table?
Yes, ma'am. I make a motion that we table this and readdress it in the insurance committee meeting.
Is there a second for discussion?
Second.
I have a second. Commissioner Pelletier, you're recognized for debate.
I think there's more layers to this onion than we've got into so far, and I think it just needs some more study before we come to a vote on anything regarding this. And I do second. I was going to second. I thought Commissioner Harvey was going to make the motion, but I was going to second his, but I second Alexander. So I'd like to see it move that direction.
All right. We're in debate. Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
Given the direction of the discussion, I'd like to make sure that we get that insurance committee meeting pushed up, not let it run out another month or quarter or whatever it is, and get it scheduled for ASAP.
Agree.
All right. Any other discussion? We have a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. All right, C, I asked Mr. Suggs, I pulled that, but I think Mr. Suggs just wanted to give you an update.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, ma'am. We've been asked to apply for a grant. I believe that's, I don't see Mr. Sullivan in the room. Oh, there he is.
There he
I'm
is.
sorry. I looked at where he was normally sitting, but this is a project that Mr. Sullivan is working in conjunction, I believe, with the University of Central Florida, and it's a letter of support for this project. I'll turn it over to Mr. Sullivan, but I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. It's just an updated letter from the one that was in your packet earlier.
So this is for transparency purposes because the letter that was originally in the packet versus the letter we have today in front of us is a little bit different. So we just wanted to pull it so that everybody knew that there were changes. Mr. Sam, you're recognized.
Good morning, Commissioner. Sam Sullivan, for the record.
You can't take that line, that's Zach's line.
I checked for copyright.
Oh, he did, he copyrighted it.
The letter before you is for a grant that actually University of Central Florida approached our Public Works Department, and Public Works Department approached me about helping them with the system. It's US DOT grants. We got to go into the system and all that. I'm familiar with it, so I've been helping. And UCF has been doing actually a lot of the weight on this, and I figured that seeing we applying for a federal grant, that getting letters of support would be a good idea. I drafted the original one, which was originally in your packet, when I had very little information. Better information and data has been provided to me, so I wrote the second one, which I believe is much more powerful and impactful. We already have received letters of support from Representative Sapp, who actually signed the letter that we are bringing before you today. We've also received letters of support from Senator Leek, U.S. Congressman Fine, and the Chamber of Commerce, and we're still working on some more. And we'd like to add the Board of County Commissioners to that list of supporters.
Absolutely. And your second paragraph says that we're seeking funding to develop a comprehensive countywide Vision Zero Safety Action Plan focused on roadway improvements, pedestrian safety, bicycle, and micro-mobility access. I'm not even sure I know what that is, and safer intersections. And so I appreciate this because this is something that we do need countywide. We all see that there's needs, and it's hard because you've got state roads, you've got county roads, you've got city roads, you've got federal highways not coming through Putnam. But the point is, I appreciate this, and I appreciate you bringing it forward. So with that, someone want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve and endorse this message of support.
Second.
We have a motion, second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item E.
Yes, ma'am. I'd just like to learn a little bit more about that one and talk about the lease on that one a little bit. So who originally paid the funding for the repairs? Are we reimbursing the tenant?
The elevator was paid directly by the county. It was board approved at a board meeting.
Yep.
I have not seen a roof repair estimate. The board repaired the septic tank as a reimbursement.
Okay, gotcha. And in this lease, as I was looking at it, it appears that we agreed to a sublease back in 2021.
That's true, yes.
And is that in perpetuity, or at what point can we rescind that? And is there the potential to lease that to the end user if they maintain all of the correct insurances and licenses for a nursing home?
Well, it's for the term of the lease, so a sublease only grants any sort of permissions and authorizations that would have been entitled under the actual lease. So as far as can we rescind that, amendments to the contract, which this is, require a mutual agreement from the parties. So the tenant, the original tenant, would have to actually agree to withdraw that, unless there's a violation of the contract. But that's not what this lawsuit's about.
I understand, but I thought it would be a good time to talk about it while we were looking at it. So the parent lease, do we reserve the right to terminate that lease with 30 days notice, 60 days notice, or is it only available to be terminated by the leaseor?
I've got to pull it up. Sorry, the original lease wasn't what was on the agenda. Let me pull it up for you.
You know, as we look at these things, and we talked about being good stewards of the county's money, I question if there's enough of a profit margin for someone to lease the nursing home from us and then additionally sublease it at a profit and have no liability as far as maintenance or any other portions of that. Why wouldn't we lease it directly to the end user, absorb a portion of those profits, and potentially give the end user an opportunity to lower their costs for our community?
Yep.
So that's a possibility. This relationship with the actual tenant existed long before any of us.
Mm-hmm.
So my understanding is it was a continuation of that relationship.
Yeah. Well, I'd like for that relationship potentially not to continue if we can provide them with a better deal and make more money for the county.
That's entirely up to the board.
This is, Commissioner Alexander, if you'll allow me, this is one of the properties we agreed to look at and get appraisals for.
Yes, ma'am.
And potentially put on the market. That decision will still have to come back to the board, and it might be a good time to discuss that. But Rich, I do have a question on this because it says that, did they file a lawsuit on December 6, 2024?
That sounds about right. Yes, we were sued because essentially the argument was that they had asked us to make repairs pursuant to the lease, and then I responded to that lawsuit, and we've been in litigation ever since. I mean, the end result is we were able to settle this with no actual damages, and we're not paying their attorney's fees, so.
I guess for me, I'm on my 4th year. I don't ever remember us talking about that we were in the middle of a lawsuit. And do we have lawsuits that this board doesn't know about? I mean, is it not standard practice that our attorney would give us updates and say, hey, by the way, you guys are in the middle of a litigation?
Usually things that apply to you will bring you up, but I mean, for example, there are slip and falls, there are a number of different lawsuits that exist on any given day that are handled by fact and our insurance, so.
But this one wasn't fact, right? This was you?
No, this one was me. Fact denied the coverage because it was dealing with the lease, so I've been dealing with it, but.
I mean, do we have other outstanding lawsuits like this?
I'm sure we do. Off the top of my head, as you're asking me, I can't think of the names of them. Yes, we do.
I would.
I guess I'm just surprised.
Yeah, it just seems like if they're of significance, and we would at least be knowledgeable of that they are aware that was going on. So.
Well, and again, a lease dispute didn't rise to the level that I thought it was something of significance. I mean, we get sued on a lot of minutia just because we're the government. We tend to be the deep pocket. So many of those things come forward. Candidly, I just deal with them. But I mean, if you want a running list of what all the lawsuits are, we do it every year for the audit legal opinion letter, because your auditor's always asking whether or not there's something that could have a financial impact to the county as we move forward. Generally speaking, very little of it does.
Yeah, I think that's where I was coming from, was whether there's a financial impact. That was my concern as well. Yeah. Mr. Suggs, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we had a conversation as recent as yesterday about this, I'll take the ownership of this one. There are lawsuits that we get periodically that will absolutely have no impact to the Board of County Commissioners. This may or may not have been one of those, so I'll take the ownership of not sharing this information with the board. So moving forward, what we'll do if there's a process that we want to put in place, we'll certainly make sure that happens. But I appreciate Mr. Commando's responses this morning, and we do get a number of lawsuits here that some of them just get settled, some of them just move on, and they don't have any financial impact to the 5 of you folks. And so we'll put a process in place to make sure that doesn't happen.
So thank you for that. So when you say may or may not affect the board, you're referring to whether it has a financial impact?
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay. And just because it comes to mind, for example, like we're being sued by the Nelson family over Chimera Way. We never actually had a formal conversation about it, but they did come to us and we talked about it as part of that. So sometimes as things come to your attention, we bring it to you that way.
I understand.
Well,
Okay, give me, Commissioner Newbold, I'm sorry, you pushed this button for you.
Sorry.
Commissioner Alexander.
Okay, I was gonna make a motion. If Commissioner Alexander has some discussion.
Yeah, my concern is, as commissioners, we're a small community, and we have conversations within the community, and we may share information or be put on the spot about a potential lawsuit that we're unaware of. I know we don't need to know about all of them, but any of those, like you said, Mr. Stokes is going to put something in place, but anything of significance, it's not only embarrassing, but it also puts us at risk. So, you know what I'm saying? I would like to just kind of get an idea, even a 30,000-foot view of what's going on, so I don't get embarrassed in public.
Right, so generally when we do have lawsuits of significance, and I didn't chalk up a lease to be one of those issues, but if there is something of significance, we definitely do let you know. For example,
this was a $250,000 repair, wasn't it?
When it first came in as the lawsuit, we didn't know what the repair was. And honestly, that was just part of our obligations as far as dealing with the lease.
Okay.
So it wasn't like, for example, the Pam Rock case, the second that came in, we let you know that came in. That was something of significance. And as far as your role as commissioners, candidly, my advice to you as your attorney is you shouldn't be making comment about pending litigation. So no matter what context you're in.
Well, we
anything
don't
you
know it's
say-
pending litigation if we're not aware of it.
No, you
So if
said-
somebody asks me a question in public about something that's going on, where we're at, I don't know anything about it. They could ask me a question and back me into a corner.
Well, if
So
they
that's
had-
the thing, I would like to be aware of it.
We'll make you aware, but if they
Thank
ask you a question on something that you didn't know about, that actually puts you in a good situation, because then you can't comment on something that, again, everything that you say can potentially be used as a component of the litigation that we're being sued against, whether someone comes to talk to you about it in a friendly manner or not. So those are things that, again, we always advise to not have comments about pending litigation at all.
Right,
So if
but
somebody comes to
We
you.
don't have comments about pending litigation we know about, but if we don't know about them and somebody asks me something, sure. But if I don't know anything about it, I've got no if I know something about it, I've got no comment, because it's pending litigation. But if I don't know anything about it, I just know there's a problem.
Well, I would hope that y'all just reach out to me and ask, but we'll make sure that you have any information you need on all pending litigation. So.
Thank you. Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
You know, we asked about this property specifically, looking into the idea of marketing the property, clearing up this lawsuit is required for that further step. We have no financial obligation with it. This cleans this up. I would move for approval of consent agenda item E.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. New business, Public Works. Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Madam Chair, I have a question just before Mr. Stout comes. Every year we go through this exercise. Is there a way that we can just say we don't need?
You just make it part of your policy.
Well, undoubtedly the shaking of the head said no, so we'll just go with that.
Okay.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I move
Commissioner
approval
Harvey.
that we exempt our procurement for the Brownies Boot Shop.
Second.
Ms. Julianne, would you like to comment?
Just to directly answer your question, public procurement exists to make sure that it's fair and competitive. Just because it's fair and competitive today does not mean that tomorrow Mr. Harvey doesn't open up a boot shop downtown across the street.
I get it.
If that were to happen, it has to be evaluated each year to make sure we still only have one local provider selling the boots, and that is what our intent is. That is true for sole sources, that is true for single sources. Every single year, in order to stay compliant with audit requirements, we reevaluate whether or not the status is still exempt.
And just a follow-up, and that's why we had no comments on our
I
audit
get
this
it.
year.
I get it. I get it.
That's where I was going with that.
I get it. I get it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Request to advertise a public hearing to vacate a portion of Pine Street. Mr. Stout, you're recognized.
Yes, ma'am. This area is completely undeveloped, just runs through the residents' property. In this meeting, we're just asking for permission to advertise to see if there's any opposition to the vacate.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Stout? Need a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that we support resolution number 2026-037, authorizing the advertisement for vacation a portion of Pine Street and Lakeside Hills, Section 10, and providing an effective date for a public hearing. And I propose that that would be at our next board meeting at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Second.
30 days.
Huh?
Need 30 days for the vacate
30 days.
30 days.
to advertise.
Okay.
So it'll be two
What would
members.
the date of that be?
Yeah.
What's the date of that 30-day meeting?
First meeting in June.
June 23rd.
Okay, so Madam Chair, in my motion that we do June 23rd at 9 o'clock in the morning.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Public comment on miscellaneous items. I've already read this once, I'm not reading it again. So, are there any cards? Thank you. You want to sort these for me?
I'll look at the last one. She got two. Oh.
thank you. Tiffany Crozier.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to take Joey's line. I'm a nervous public speaker, so I'll be a public reader. So, my name is Tiffany Crozier, and I live at 195 Horseman Club Road. You may remember me from previous board meetings with my concerns about the traffic and speed on Horseman Club Road. I did suggest speed humps or speed tables for self-regulating speed controlled, and it was answered with this would be a liability for the county. There is a speed table, an 8-minute walk from this location on Geary Avenue in Cleveland. This is the solution we need on Horseman Club Road to protect our residents, our students, and our equestrians. I was assured that this concern was going to be followed up on by looking at traffic studies done for the school and seeing if the speed could be reduced to 25. The speed reduction should be an easy fix, but the more complicated part is the control. People are well over this speed limit on our road. It's not reasonable to ask for police presence since we are such a big county, but this is only getting worse with unregulated trucks being obnoxious and racing down our road at all hours of the night. Action needs to be taken. I've emailed the sheriff with no response, and so far the board has not addressed this issue as well. Speed humps or tables are the only way that the issue will be resolved. The excuse of liability is just that. Proper signage eliminates the liability for the county. The neighbors on Horseman Club Road are very frustrated. I hope that I'm incorrect and that behind the scenes there is action being taken. In a few months, the school will be opening and adding a high volume amount of cars. The school is currently stationed for 1,055 students. This will bring a conservative amount of at least 500 cars down our road twice a day. We are a very small 2-lane road with deep ditches on either side with no sidewalks. There's no way children can ride their bikes or even walk to school on this road. Then adding the speed of our people that are driving is a tragedy waiting to happen. Your assistance and your attention is needed to help resolve this issue and prevent further incidents. And as was advised to me by Mr. Harvey, don't just come with a problem, but come with a solution.
Thank you.
Just to add to this, this first one's for Mr. Commando. I don't expect an answer right now, but in the past 10 years, how many lawsuits have been brought against the county due to traffic calming devices, and how many of those lawsuits were successful? Maybe next month you can give me that answer. In addition, I think I can speak for both the police department and fire rescue. Nobody wants that call of child versus car. If the lawsuit question is an issue, if the lawsuit question is an issue, I would say the lawsuit of a dead child greatly outweighs the potential lawsuit of a squatted truck with damage to their modified suspension. Thank you for your consideration with this.
Thank you. If we're going to respond, we'll respond after all of the public comments. Aaron Smith. Hey, Ms. Smith.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
All right, good morning. My name is Erin Smith. I live at 119 Kelly Smith Ranch Road in Palatka. As a pharmacist, part of my background is in health science. I have been researching information that the county should have performed prior to SUP 26-00003 approval for proposed communication tower to determine whether the application was truthful and accurate. With the witness, I have documented each coverage location in the application showing, per the photos, there is no gap in coverage. Adequate coverage exists in all the cited locations. Where there is adequate coverage, there is no need. Per the application, the existing tower in Bostwick already contains a T-Mobile antenna. T-Mobile is not the applicant, and the applicant is not a telecom company. If T-Mobile wanted more coverage, it would place its own antenna on a small pole on a rooftop, not a 26-story tower. I have a letter from my mother-in-law whose business name was used without her consent to falsely claim need for more coverage. When asked at the board meeting about this, the applicant failed to provide an adequate answer. Thus, the applicant uses the T-Mobile name to make false claims of need and purpose for the tower. Our code requires under Land Development Code 45-6A, promotion of the health, safety, morals, and general welfare, to which a complete review by the county has not been done. In 45-172, subsection A1, the definition for a communication facility acknowledges microwave and electromagnetic frequency communications, such that these code sections were not met. 45-6 subsection A, 45-1081 subsection A, 45-1083 subsection 9, and 45-1083 subsection 10. Federal law acknowledges environmental effects of the irradiation from antennas. In 2020, the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals admitted on the record in CHD EHT et al. Versus FCC over 11,000 pages of scientific studies with statements including, quote, the Commission's failure to provide a reasoned explanation for its determination that exposure to RF radiation at levels below its current limits does not cause negative health effects unrelated to cancer renders inadequate, end quote. Quote, the FCC failed to acknowledge impact of RF radiation on the environment. The court asked the FCC to reevaluate the science and make a new guideline, which this has not been done. Published science shows the following adverse health effects of RF microwave radiation: neurologic, cardiac, visual impairment, suppressed immune system, increased infertility, birth defects, DNA damage, and cancer, interference with electronic medical devices, and more. There is research that radiation affects melatonin levels. We have begun contacting property owners in the area to discuss studying radiation effects on cows using melatonin tongue swabs, pre and post tower. I would like to submit a petition that contains 245 signatures from the community with more to come. If the county cannot provide complete information to the Zoning Board of Adjustment, or the board does not have the expertise to evaluate such SUPs, then the vote should be moved to a board with the expertise. Communication towers are not inert structures. I ask for the county commissioners to review this process and take into consideration when appointing Zoning Board of Adjustment members. The county failed to show that these towers are safe. These applications require careful consideration per the Land Development Code. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott Wickersheim. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, I'm Scott Wickersheim, 742 Ridgeline, Satsuma. So we recently moved into a rental property where we have a kind neighbor who fosters abandoned cats. And she's been plagued by ignorant people who see these cats, and then they think that's the place that they should dump more cats because she's taking care of them. Right after we moved in, someone abandoned a pregnant cat there, and she wandered over onto our property to have kittens. We called her Brandy. No one was taking care of her, so we took it upon ourselves to feed her. We don't have a lot of money to spend nurturing abandoned animals, and unfortunately, this county has zero affordable services. We didn't have $500 to pay for spaying and neutering a fresh litter of kittens, but before we could find any services, she was pregnant again and had 4 more kittens. Since then, we've gotten all these kittens desexed and 3 of them into loving homes. Brandy was scheduled to be spayed, but a week before her appointment, another neighbor who was anything but kind baited her with a can of sardines to the edge of his property, where he trapped her and then illegally abandoned her south of the Duns Creek Bridge along the highway. A couple days later, her starving kittens emerged from a shed from where she had been keeping them safe. 2 of them struggled to thrive, and thankfully our kind neighbor attended to the hourly needs of trying to keep them alive. The next disgrace that we encountered was the sheriff's office blowing us off for 4 days until we drove back to the station and demanded that they at least go and speak with this man. Our mean old neighbor Jack then admitted to PCSO Detective Mullins that he had indeed trapped our cat and abandoned her. Despite the detective having made it clear back at the station that she was well aware that stealing and abandoning cats is a criminal offense, she then changed her story and told us, quote, "People relocate cats all the time." When we then demanded to speak with her supervisor about her failure to make an arrest, he made up laws that anybody can kill a cat or dog that steps onto their property. He then laughed at our concerns about our cat being abandoned, and he threatened us with a felony, an illegal retaliation for exercising our constitutional rights to record him. Please pay close attention to what Sergeant Clayton Usina is saying. He's either lying or completely ignorant of state laws. It is a felony to shoot a cat or dog unless it is in self-defense, but we have now learned that this is what happens when you call for help around here with abandoned animals, or any animals, or your own pets. PCSO threatens you instead of just arresting criminals.
Was the cat on his property?
Yes, the cat was on his property.
Yes. So he is legally justified to kill that cat.
So
Madam Chair,
he
I
has
don't think
every
we should
right
be
to
hearing
shoot at
that.
any animals that come on his
Can
property, because he does this as well.
authenticate that.
Yes, you can. Hey, so you've been recording me? Well, that went on. That's a third-degree felony.
No, it isn't. You serve the public. We know what the law is about two-party, all right? And this doesn't apply there, okay?
Okay. Was the cat on his property?
Yes, the cat was on his property.
Yes.
So I'd just like to kindly ask you all, do you have a cat or dog at home? And how would you feel? Do you have a cat or dog at home, and how would you feel if this happened to you and this is how the sheriff's office treated you? Thank you.
Kimberly Wickersham.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Kimberly Wickersheim, 742 Ridgeline Road, Satsuma. I'm continuing to speak about justice for our cat Brandy. It has now been over a month that our neighbor and his two friends have felt empowered to continue abusing animals because of PCSO's unwillingness to arrest the criminals who took our cat and illegally abandoned her. This man has admitted straight to a detective to committing a crime according to Florida Statute 828, animal cruelty laws, and yet nothing has been done. We rent here, we're not even property owners, and yet we are spending our own money and time to try and solve the problem and doing TNR on a colony in the neighborhood. We have driven to Gainesville and taken 15 of these cats because there are no affordable services here. People cannot afford what it costs to take care of this problem. Sorry, I just lost my place. PCSO is condoning felony behavior. Not only are they condoning animal cruelty, but they are also saying that you can shoot in residential areas where there are clear laws. Florida Statute 790.15 says that it's illegal to shoot in close neighborhoods, much less at your neighbor's cat or dog, especially just because you don't like them there. We posted our entire interaction on social media, and the response has been incredible. The stories that we've heard from other people in our community who have experienced the same dismissive response from PCSO to their own horrific animal cruelty cases, quite frankly, is embarrassing. As humans, we need to do better. None of these animals asked to be in these situations. We need to speak up for the voiceless, not condone the abuse of them. Just because this is a poor county is no excuse for not enforcing the law. Every time we let someone get away with animal cruelty, we are empowering them and others to continue. This needs to stop. There are so many people in this county trying to do the right thing, and clearly, for a long time, there is no support from Putnam County leadership. I encourage you to go on the local forums and read the comments and just see for yourselves how many people blatantly admit and even brag about doing wicked and evil things to helpless animals. Sorry, one disturbing comment that really stuck with me was a local man here who killed his wife's 5 cats. A family member actually reached out and verified that this indeed did happen. It's disgusting. There have been threats of violence towards us simply for speaking up for these innocent and defenseless animals. There's plenty of evidence available of what criminologists call the link between people who abuse animals and those who are found to abuse humans. A prime example that just happened here is Tyler Holtz, who threw 5 newborn kittens away. He packed them in a trash bag and threw them in the trash. He was released on bond and he was only charged with misdemeanors. Meanwhile, the woman in Jacksonville who ran over ducklings, she was charged with a felony. Do state laws not apply in Putnam County? Do officers of the law get to make up whatever laws they want? Who is going to hold the sheriff's office accountable for doing their job? I encourage anyone who's interested to go #JusticeForBrandy on Facebook to watch the full encounter with our experience with PCSO. Thank you.
Thank you. Ben Smith.
Good morning. My name is Ben Smith, 105 Hires Road, Crescent City, 32112. A bit about my credibility. I'm 70 years old, semi-retired electrical contractor and HVAC contractor, and still have 8 electrical contracting companies operating in the state of Florida that I license and am responsible for. In 2009, I was appointed to the Electrical Contractors Licensing Board by the Governor and confirmed by the Senate, and have served as a board member, vice chairman, and currently chairman of the Probable Cause Committee. I consider myself honest, ethical, of sound mind, and of good reason. My concern here is to bring attention to the severe drainage problems on County Road 309, specifically between Koloski Road and Lunker Lodge Road. Mr. Newbold has stood on my property and witnessed the devastation to my driveway, to my 1,200-foot washed-out driveway caused by the runoff from County Road 309. A special meeting was called by J.R. Grimes with attendance of his engineer and other staff members, as well as Mr. Newbold. At this time, the drainage was described as tragic, but not a result of the county ditch neglect. I'm here to dispute that and maintain that years of neglect and poor design should not be an individual's responsibility to correct. It has cost me $70,000 to date to rebuild twice since 2022. I'll just ad-lib here a little bit. I started my complaints in 2022 due to extreme water from our hurricanes that hit. And when it hit, the ditches filled up with water. It backed up and ran underneath County Road 309 in a 48-inch box culvert where it terminated on the west side of 309 with no explanation or design of where the water's going to go. Since that time, that property has been sold to another individual, and he's had it surveyed and found there was no easement by the county or anybody else for that water to pass through his property, and he has filled in the area where the water did go. And at this point, should that event happen again, my question is, where is that water going to go, and whose responsibility is it to move it to the desired locations? What I'd like to see moving forward from this point is possibly an investigation opened up to find the existing plans for County Road 309 with its elevations and where the water was designed to go. I've been told by Mr. Grimes that the plans do not exist. At that point, I asked, well, let's get a survey to find out the elevations and where they go. Water is actually, and I've walked this property, and actually Public Works has had someone come out and determine that water is actually running from the west side of 309 back to the east, down to that box culvert and coming over the property. I just would like to see something done. I'm not the only resident in the area that's being affected. There are other countless people in that area that it's affecting. So, you know, if we could possibly open up an investigation, it would be, you know, helpful to all of us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. All right, is there anybody else in the audience wishing to speak? All right, with that, we'll close the public comment time. Is there any commissioners who want to address any concerns that were brought up today?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Mr. Stout. Have we done any kind of traffic study on Horseman's Club Road, account what's going to be happening there, or is currently versus what it's going to grow to when that school does open?
If there's a traffic study, the school district did it with their engineered plans, and I'd have to call J.D. Thompson to get a copy of that.
Okay, I'd like to know what's happening there, and then is it going to be at full capacity the day it opens, or have you heard?
Yeah.
It will be?
It'll be 3 to 6, starting in August. I know they are changing the traffic pattern going in and out of the school on Horseman Club. I met with Ms. Oyster on site, and have talked to their engineers, and there's going to be 2 lanes going in instead of 1. So from 19, they're going to take a sharp, I'm going to call it a 180, but it's going to be a sharp inside lane, and then coming from 20, there's going to be a left-hand turn to the second lane, so you got 2 lanes going in. And then during ingress egress times of the school, It'll be a right-hand turn only onto Horseman Club Road.
My concern is that we're going to put a lot of traffic on a road that wasn't designed to handle that much, and it's going to happen overnight, basically.
Yep.
And how's that road going to hold up and withstand that? I don't know I don't believe there's room for sidewalks unless you got right-of-ways from all the landowners along
You would
it.
have to pipe, curb, and gutter the entire ditch system to do a sidewalk.
Yeah.
And you're
And
talking,
there's no land there for that without getting it from,
Correct.
the property owners. If nothing else, I wish we could at least widen that road a little bit, a foot on each side would be huge. If we can get some numbers from the school board and let us know where that is, I'd appreciate it.
I'll call JD today.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I got Commissioner Harvey. Just stand by, please. Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Stout, what kind of helps me is when that sign blinks at me and says I'm going too fast. I don't like the speed anyway, if you know that when driving with me. I drive the speed limit. But, sometimes you go, wow, I am going 3 miles more than I should be. So is there any way maybe we could look at putting some of those signs out there that track your speed and say slow down? That might help the problem. There was a school there before. Briarwood was there back when Commissioner Palacier and I were young kids, and Commissioner Alexander. So there's been a school there, but probably not to this extent. So with that in mind, maybe, I always like to incentivize instead of, beat people over the head. So maybe a sign out there that flashes that says slow down, and, but to be honest with you, I came in on 20 this morning, right there on 20 where Kelly Smith School is, and people are blowing through that flashing light, and you're like, it's flashing and it's 20 and you're going 50. Come on, and we can't put a sheriff at every place. We just know that. But maybe those signs would be more advantageous in that area.
They'll have the flashing school beacons as well, that we'll be installing for them. So that's one of the ways that they'll try and curb the traffic speed, like we do with every school zone. My only caution on putting too many signs out there is the lack of right-of-way. And if you fill up between the road and the ditch too many, do we create another hazard? I don't know, we're in a little conundrum.
I know.
Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized.
Earlier this year, not that there's any roadway on the side of there to put the sign, but I did buy a speed awareness trailer, and the sheriff's office can deploy that if we can find somewhere to put it on the side of that road, just for the initial opening of that to help with that. But as I go through Gainesville and other cities, municipalities, I see these tabletops, and I've spoken to some of the planning people, or one of the planning guys over in Gainesville, and they seem to get results, and they seem to be pleased with the reduction in speed by using those devices. What other than potential lawsuits for damage of a vehicle, what's the resistance of staff to installing some of those?
Our job is to make them smooth, and not to be a smart aleck, but that's what you want us to do.
I understand.
And maybe I'll help in this one.
Yeah, I'd probably a better question for you, but
So where do we draw the line, right? Because as soon as we start putting in speed tables and speed bumps, which roads do gets them, which one don't, and that's y'all's definition, not ours. Who gets them, who doesn't, when do they stop, how many do we buy, and who's going to set the budget for it? Because Public Works doesn't have the budget for it to put speed tables on every road that's going to get requested. And then what's the board's policy direction going to be when we do deploy them? Are we going to buy 10 a year? Are we going to buy 20 a year? Who gets them? What's the selection process? Much like roads. So when we open when we open Pandora's box on that one, get ready, because we have had them all the time. Everybody wants them in their neighborhood till they don't. And then for every person that you make happy with a speed table, you're going to make 10 unhappy. So if speed tables is the way to go, it's going to be back to you guys to determine the policy of who gets them and who doesn't, and who's going to pay for them, because Public Works' budget cannot support them.
I understand. So we would have to set and determine a policy and certain criteria. But to be perfectly honest, I don't care if I piss off 10 people or 100 people if I save one kid's life, JR.
And that's fine. And that's
So,
fine. But if we
I'll
can,
make
if
that
we can
statement,
go
but-
back to this.
But I understand what you're saying as well. So we would have to have a defined policy in place.
That's
and
correct.
that would come to us.
That's correct.
Not being resistant to what you're saying.
No, no,
I
it's
get it
not a
100%.
resistance, it's who do we pick and when they
Right,
get them.
we have to define where they're gonna go.
Are we gonna put them in school zones? Where are we gonna put them?
Yeah, so I think we should start looking at that, because I used to live on Horseman Club Road. I know that corner of Horseman Club and Silver Lake Drive was mine. And I've seen people not even stop at the sign and just blow through past my house. And I've been in the yard and had my kids seen that. So, you know, like JT was saying, you know, you put signs out, or Commissioner Harvey was saying, if there's no physical reason for some of these people to slow down, they're not going to slow down. So, and I'm not, again, like you said, I'm not being a smart butt. I want to make sure that we make every effort possible to protect our citizens, and that's where I'm at. I didn't mean to.
So if we can
Racist.
dial this thing back to where all this problem started.
Yes, sir.
When the school district decided to put a school on Horseman's Club Road, they never came to the county to get their zoning done and any of those other things.
I think there's
So we
another
were handed
agency
a
they
baby
didn't,
with the
they didn't
school
go
district.
before too. There's another agency they didn't ask about that either. The traffic
No, I
study.
get it. So I mean, so now we're handed this thing that we would have probably have, because there wasn't a traffic study done, because
Nope.
it was asked in a meeting, when we did it after the fact meeting for the community representation in there, by the attorney of the school district, to make them do a traffic study. It probably still hasn't been done. So I can go ahead and answer the question that was answered for Mr. Stout, because it wasn't. We were delivered this.
Yep, and I
Because
wanted
if we
you to
were, we
bring
may
that
have had
point
some
out.
comment about, hey, let's fix Horseman's Club Road. But now we're here after the fact trying to make citizens happy for a problem that we didn't create.
And I wanted you to bring that topic out, that it was not the counties that did this.
Yes, sir,
We
that is
followed our
correct.
procedure, and we did not produce this problem. Other agencies did this. We were not responsible by not following procedure. Thank you, Mr. Grimes.
Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
Yeah, the whole tabletop speed bump thing is a great big can of worms. It's controversial. It opens up a lot. You know, in the minute the fire truck can't get there in time to save the house that's burning down, then you have an issue there. You want to really open up the can of worms, put a sign out there that sends a ticket to the guy that's speeding. That'll piss people off, but it'll also slow them down. You know, we'll get a lot of grief. Oh, I got a $500 speeding ticket because I was going 55 through the school zone. Well, you were going 55 through the school zone. Anyway, I mean, that's an extreme measure, but there's technology out there that will slow people down in those school zones. But do we have the, the courage to use them? Because, I mean, it's controversial. You see this happen in West Palm and Miami, but they work. Anyway, that's one way to slow them down.
Commissioner Palacio, you're recognized.
Mr. Stout, have you heard any communication out of the school board as to anything that they are definitely planning to do there as far as signage or any kind of, other than that one turning lane you were talking about?
No, it's just the standard school zone signage. School zone ahead, pedestrian crossing, the flashing beacons.
They wouldn't have any, maybe a big sign across Horseman's Club stating school zone, kids cross, you know?
Prior to the school zone, they'll have a school zone ahead sign,
Yeah, that's it.
but that's it. Yep.
Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, this whole conversation really comes down to what I say about animal control. It's personal responsibility. And if you're aware that you're driving fast, then you should slow down. If you're aware you're in a school zone, you should slow down. We grew up out there in that area, rode my horses from Horseman's Club back to Francis. You know, it was a different time back then, I will say that. But again, slow down. Stop texting on your phone. Stop going 50 miles an hour in a school zone. Stop doing these things. And I think that's where it comes down to awareness that, hey, do we want to do these enforcement efforts, and do we want to do all the other things to try to get people to slow down? Because truly, they're not slowing down on speed bumps in Gainesville. I watch them fly over that, and you hear the truck, bam, bam, So I think it's all personal responsibility, and but if you're aware you're speeding, then you're held accountable for that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And I'll make a couple comments. We are the policy-making arm of the government. We're not the enforcement side. I would encourage citizens in that area, if there are people that are currently not adhering to the speed limit, you should call it in. because the sheriff's office, I don't care if you blow up their phone every day, they need to know that you got a problem in that neighborhood. Second, are we on, as far as speed limit, what is the current speed limit out there? Do
I
you
want to
know?
say it's 35 on Horseman's Club
35?
Road.
So a reduction to 25.
It's either 20 or 25 in the school zone. I don't remember which one it is.
Okay, so that would be in the school zone area, so there will be an area with that speed limit that will be lowered.
Yep.
Okay, and then lastly, I'll say this. This was something that we got handed as a board, but at the same time, it doesn't mean we now don't have to deal with the issue. I would say as we go into our next appropriation year with the state, because this, you know, when we went up this last year to the state, we heard from a lot of our legislators saying, you guys should all be coming forward with the same projects, right? And so this is a huge need in our community, one, again, that we didn't create, but we can't go back and change time. What about asking for an appropriation for filling in those ditches, putting in the, what'd you call it, curb and gutter, pipe, curb and gutter on Horseman's Club, and that be supported by this Board of County Commissioners, that be supported by the school district, that be supported by the city of Palatka, because it's in the city of Palatka. If that should be a #1 priority. If we, because there isn't any, my grandkids go to school, they're at school, they don't have to walk, thank God. There are people that walk to school. I've seen mothers walking with their students, with their kids, their grandparents, bike riding, it happens. So if there's one priority that we should have going forward, and this is just me talking and I'm throwing it out there, that should be the one that all of our entities get together and that we push for on repairing this problem, because we can't keep kicking the can down the road. We can't keep ignoring that there's a problem, because there is a problem. Those ditches are deep. There's no place to go for those students, and it's wrong. It is dang sure wrong, and it's a problem that we inherited, and we don't have the funds to fix it. So the only way I know to say is that we collectively come together, all of the agencies, and they support it. And if they don't support it publicly, I want to know why, and that becomes our priority as we go through the new legislative year. Now, does it answer the problem in June or July? No, it doesn't, but we at least get a plan moving forward. So those are my comments. Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
I was going to change to a different thorny subject, but would you like anything on this?
I would just, I think that's a fantastic idea. As we needed to start discussing our appropriations for the year, and I can't think of a more important one to our community other than protecting our children. And it's just crazy to me that was built, because to access the rear of the school, you have to go down Davis Lake Road. So if somebody decided to walk from Horseman Club or anywhere down there, there's no good way to access that school by sidewalk. And you're not going to get in a car and drive 2 blocks. That doesn't make sense. You should have the ability to walk to the school with your child, or your child walk home. So the design was poor, and we were handed that, but that sounds like a potential solution, and I'm in support of that.
Thank you. And I just, I know we have a lot of other things that we were already working on and trying to get appropriations for, but this is a safety issue when our children are concerned. Commissioner Pelletier, you're recognized.
Madam Chair, thank you. I think you have an outstanding idea of the curb and gutter, and that'll allow us more roadway there to deal with and widen that road, make it safer. I don't know what that does for the speed, but it certainly would create a walkway for those children along Horseman's Club. I don't know if we just go to the 19 end or do it from one end to the other to Highway 20, but I think that's a great idea. I think we need to, if we need to have a joint meeting with the school board, but certainly bond with them on this, because I don't see why they couldn't get behind and support this, and I think you're 100% right. Ask the legislature as one to fund this, to help take care of this situation and then save kids' lives.
And look at any grants that are available, and every one of those entities buy in. It shouldn't all just fall on the backs of the BOCC. Every one of those should have a vested interest in that area, and if it ends up that we only get a portion, whether it's through a grant or we only get a portion, we try both, right? We try a grant, we try appropriation, we try every funding. we look under every rock we can, and then whatever's left, if there's still stuff left, that's when we all have to come together and pitch in as three entities. Mr. Grimes, you're recognized.
I'd like to point out the fact that this isn't the only school that you're going to have this problem with. You're going to have the same problem at the school on Union Avenue in Crescent City. There's no sidewalks. There's no, we have no right-of-way. It's the main thoroughfare for the school in Crescent City as well. I know that people are here today for Horseman's Club Road, but you have the same issue for there. We put in for a state grant for the TAP grant for the transportation alternative, which was denied by the state DOT. So we have the same issue in multiple locations. So I think whenever you guys have your meeting with the school district, we need to figure out a plan and solution for both of them, because that school's opening the same day as the one is on Horseman's Club Road, and they both are in the same identical situation. And that one there, maybe the one in Crescent City may even be worse, because that is the only access into the building. There is no access off of Davis Lake Road for all of them. Every single vehicle coming into that school is coming off a 2-lane Union Avenue. That one thing we have is prescriptive rights. So there's not even a turning lane for that one. So we're going to have even a larger issue there. Commissioner Newbold has agreed to use some of his discretionary money to put up signage and on the school, and trying to get that through with Public Works to make that a 4-way stop, so at least we can slow the traffic down. I don't know that, I mean, maybe the direction is from the board is to give us the look and see how much the signs cost. That tells people what they're going, the speed. I mean, we've got to come up with some kind of solution. And in the meantime, right, if this thing's starting in June, or I'm sorry, when school starts in August, what are we going to do then, right? Do we need to give Public Works some direction to go, hey, go get us a price and bring it back to the BOCC, see if you guys want to fund a sign on each side of it, right? Do we want to put them on Union Avenue in Crescent City, just so we can start protecting our children?
You're referring to a temporary sign, one that's on the trailer?
No, I mean, I think you're going to put them permanent. We're going to have to install it. We did it at Georgetown, Denver Road, and 309 when Commissioner Pickens was here. We put a culvert in the road, built typically like an island, put the pole in the island, for no better term, and then put the speed sign there. That's what we had to do there. We could do the same thing on Horseman's Club and put it in the ditch. We just had to pipe it as a little short portion of the ditch. I think.
Does it tell people that, like, you're going?
I think you're going to say, hey, you're going 35 miles an hour, speed limit's 25, and have
Okay.
it flashing on the front, so it's reminding people how fast they're going. I mean, if you guys would give us the direction, but we're going to have to ask you guys for funding, because we don't get those capital dollars in a budget, because it wasn't brought before during the capital time, so we'd have to ask you guys for some funding for it. But I think that's a step in the right direction to slowing the traffic down. And then when people realize, hey, I'm actually going this fast, it does make people slow down. I slow down every day going into Palatka, because they have a trailer there that says, hey, you're going, it blinks at you and tells you you're going too fast. So maybe that's an alternative to get us started and see if we can, come up with some kind of solution, right? At least we put a positive step forward.
Thank you, Mr. Grimes. Those are great suggestions. Commissioner Newbold, you still have the floor.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, it all goes back to poor planning with the school system from the beginning. We've got to come up with a better way. Our citizens voted to build those schools. I mean, we collectively are paying for that. And we didn't, it's terrible that we're going to pay. It all comes out of taxpayer dollars, in the end. But it's terrible we're going to have kind of a halfway deal, and then they have to come to us for it, when it could have been incorporated into
Amen.
Into that initial bond.
Hallelujah.
Just
Preach it, brother.
Preach it.
Anyway, we've got to get together and speak in the beginning and not fix it all in the end.
I agree with that.
I'm going to change the subject from this difficult one to another difficult one.
Before you get to that, let's
Yes,
make
ma'am.
a motion on this one.
Okay.
Commissioner Alexander, your light's on?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, if staff will get us some pricing together, we were just talking about things for discretionary funds, I'd be happy to help in that manner.
I agree. So can we, would we have a wave of support?
Yeah,
and give,
wave and
Or
support.
do you want a motion? Do you need a motion?
No.
I don't need a motion, but I mean, we need to formulate some kind of policy, right? Because now, here we go again, we're picking 2 schools. We have how many schools in the county, right? So, I mean, I don't want to.
2 schools that have an immediate need.
Immediate
need. I get it, but I'm saying, I mean, we got to figure out how long-term, how are we going to go? Are we going to go ahead and say, you know what, we're going to put them in front of schools that don't have a lot of protection? I mean, we need, because I do have a concern, because you got the new Kelly Smith coming, right? It's on Crill Avenue. You have Brownie Pierce Elementary School, the Charter School, the Reading Learning Center. I mean, we have schools all over. I know that these are the ones in the forefront, but we also, I mean, just looking for policy guidance on how we want to treat all of the school zones. Is this, we're just going to do these two for now and then and move forward in the future with the other ones, or how do we want to do it?
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
if you don't, I think you just need to get us a price on two. And the point is then, if we want to multiply that per school,
Then we
we
would-
can do that.
then we would
That's
know
an
what money
easy.
we're talking about.
Right. Okay?
Yep.
No problem.
All right, we got that. All right, now, Commissioner Alexander, were you done on this subject?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done.
And then the other thing I would say before Mr. Newbold takes the floor again is, Mr. Suggs, if you could help me, and we'll coordinate a meeting with the school district and with in the city of Palatka. And we're going to discuss this openly, and we're going to have a big meeting about it. And because, again, we have an idea, we need to know if they're going to be willing to sit down at the table and go forward with us in looking at funding options and that kind of thing. So I'd like to schedule a joint meeting, a public joint meeting.
Madam Chair,
Yes?
just very briefly, I heard Commissioner Harvey say something I wanted to comment on. You're talking about cost of every school. Every school is going to vary greatly. They're not even going to be near close because they create a whole different set of circumstances in length and width and depth and whatever else. So don't get in your mind of this one's going to cost $300,000. They're all going to cost $300,000. That just ain't going to happen. So I just want to everybody keep that in mind.
All right, Commissioner Palacier, thank you. So that, we've worked on that one. All right, Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to touch on the Wickershire's comments. Appreciate you guys coming and bringing that, to our attention. That's a tough deal. We talk about, personal responsibility, taking care of your animals and doing the things that are right there is a big deal here in Putnam County. We got a long way to go. We have not had enforcement that has been robust for a long time. We are working in that direction. I appreciate your willingness to try to fix those cat issues in your personal space and your community space. If others could do that, that would be helpful as well. But we have made it a priority to collaborate with the Sheriff's Department and our judicial system and our staff, our animal services program, to resuscitate and make that enforcement apparatus work for the future. It's a process. We are moving in that direction. We're going to have a lot of community input in that process. So while I don't have a fix for you today, we are actively working on it. So.
Thank you for that. But let me ask you, where does this, process start? Do we just leave Florida state statutes like Florida Statute 828.12, Section 2, aggravated animal cruelty? Do we just say that we don't enforce that until we have a bunch of meetings? Because I thought that was fully established already.
Well,
And, let me just add this other thing here that was brought out by Commissioner Harvey, and repeated by yourself. I definitely agree. Personal responsibility is a huge deal. We should all be responsible for our own actions, and especially if we're charged with taking care of animals. Kimberly and I, we didn't ask for any of this responsibility of these animals dumped on us, or our neighbor, who she bought this property with the problem already on it, and it was there, as far as we've heard, for over a decade. But that doesn't mean that neighbors can continue to go and commit felonies and at least misdemeanors until meetings decide that we indeed hold the sheriff's office accountable to enforce state laws and our own county commission laws that are on the animal control website.
Well, thank you
Would
for
agree- would you
your
agree with that?
commentary. I appreciate your commentary, and I am. You can know that there's going to be progress made here, and if I probably cannot satisfy you with any commentary today. So.
Can I just ask that we work on a TNR service here? People don't have the money
Sure.
to deal with it, so you please make that a priority to actually have affordable, free, I mean, other counties are doing it, and our county has to rely on communities next door to help us.
We're
So
moving
please-
forward in that space, and it's a collaboration between the county with nonprofits, with a lot of others. We now have a part-time veterinarian on staff. There is positive progress here, and you will see it in the future. And that's the end of my commentary for today.
Thank you for caring.
Thank you. When do we get to see justice for our cat that was stolen from us, baited right across the property
Sir,
line?
that's between you and the sheriff's office. I mean, the sheriff does not report to us.
I'm sorry, I understand this, you know,
Okay.
but who's going to hold the sheriff's office accountable?
You're
Because they are
welcome to call the
accountable to you
governor.
guys.
The governor, the next person that, above the sheriff is the governor.
All right, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Real quickly,
Young?
before y'all walk off, Ms. Young has a few comments that she would like to address.
So just on the spay-neuter services, Ms. McNeil, who is in the back, can get you set up with contact information. We actually have two options. The county, in collaboration with ARC, has
Thank you.
a
Those are my
low-cost
comments.
spay-neuter trailer. We also have a rescue in town that does TNR, so she can make sure you have contact information. That way, if you do have an animal in your care that you're seeking those low-cost services, you'll be able to get them.
Okay,
Thank you for that. I was going to comment on that too.
Thank you.
because we
You know,
do
that
have-
sounds great, but, you know, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of money, and we didn't ask for this problem, and these services, they should be provided by the county. If this is you know, if the county wants to fix this problem, the county needs to pay to fix this problem. We can't expect the community to take it upon our shoulders. These services that you're mentioning, it's great that they're trying and they're doing what they can, what they've had allotted. But, you can't expect people that don't have any money in this county, and there's a lot of them, to start paying, $100 a cat when there's 10 cats, 20, 50. There's cats everywhere you look, and dogs as well.
Thank you. I think your point's been made. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next issue, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to address Mr. Smith's water issue on 309.
Okay.
If we could. We don't have any kind of documentation of drainage in there when that road was built. And I know that's far before mine and your time, Mr. Grimes, way beyond. But there should be some documentation of how that road was designed.
That road was a state road back in the 1950s and 60s.
Okay.
So the state built that road. It was turned over to the county, I think, in the 70s. So if there's any plans that are on County Road 309 are held with the state of Florida or somewhere, we do not have them in our possession. We've looked through everything we have for plans on 309. The thing that we have to remember is our drainage on the side of 309 is there to capture the first 1 inch of rainfall. That is all. I mean,
Is that 1 inch per hour, per day, per month? What does 1 inch?
it's the 1 inch per storm event. The first 1 inch in every afternoon thunderstorm is what our ditching system is designed to do.
That still doesn't define in what length of time. 1 inch doesn't mean a lot to me when you're talking 1 inch per event. That doesn't sound like it's proper to me.
I'm sure there's a set of guidelines that the state or whoever.
I've never had that, definition explained. What does 1 inch mean?
I've never heard it either, but I'm sure there's some sort of guidelines, but
I've been in the contracting business my whole life, and I've never heard of 1 inch and not a definition of what time frame that is elapsed.
have we tried to reach out to the state, see if they got anything from the 50s? And
No, sir.
we have not? Can we do that? Can we work into that? See if there's some guidelines to send
Yes,
us that
that's the
direction?
first time I heard it was designed by the state of Florida. It was a state road back then. I did not realize that.
I didn't either.
I can do some research myself and see if I can find something from the state. But if we can't, I would like to ask for at least some kind of a civil engineer, third party to go out and survey. I mean, at one time, Mr. Grimes had someone from his staff come out and do some surveys, which they indicated they were going to let me know when that was going to happen. And I just happened to drive by one day as I saw him out surveying, and that's how I determined with the fellow that was doing the survey that the elevations were moving water from the west side of the road back to the east. It was running that way when I thought it would be running the other way to take it to the river. So, maybe we just need to find out what the elevations are and how we can get that water to the river.
Scott, have you had a chance to look at this and give us some insight or tell us a little bit more about it?
Is that the property?
Yes, sir. Well, we went out and looked at that. That is at the low spot. Water is heading in his direction. One of the things that we did look at in his driveway was talking about installing cross culverts, because what's happening is the water is being trapped by his driveway, and it ends up washing out his driveway to get to where the water wants to go, to get into the river. So I think that's one of the problems, but we don't have any information on the roadway. I mean, what we have are the just the right-of-way maps. We have no elevations or design of the roadway or anything like that. That's all we were handed over were the right-of-way maps. So to be able to establish what drainage is happening out there, it's a pretty aggressive surveying job and flood study that would have to be done for it.
I'm not familiar exactly where you're located there, but I'm not above coming and checking it out and looking for for myself. I would like to think and hope that there's some solution. Do you have some idea of your own that possibly?
I would, and thank you, Scott, for coming up here and representing what you know, and Mr. Grimes for making the comments about it also, but the water should have never got to my driveway to begin with to cause me to have to put a culvert to force it down to the river. And I have put in that culvert you're talking about. We did that crossover, and I did a 24-inch culvert down my driveway. And again, that's part of the expense that I assumed and took on to get to the $70,000 that I've taken out of my pocket.
Has that helped?
We haven't had an event to this point where we've had water down there.
You're right.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when that happens again.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't know whether we're going to have a severe summer or what's going to come. Only God knows that.
I didn't know when you put it in. I didn't know if you'd had an event to test it to see if it.
Haven't had an event to test it yet.
Okay.
Hopefully we won't, but we all
We're
know
going
it's
to.
going to happen.
We're going to.
Yeah.
As Mr. Grimes says, we need, was it storm with a name or rain
Storm
with a
with a
name?
name.
My big concern right now is that 48-inch box culvert that comes underneath 309 and terminates nowhere. And the water is now going, and when the water flows through that, it fills up to maximum capacity. Culverts are not designed to handle maximum capacity. They have to have water, they have to have flow, and that one is maximum capacity. When that water comes out of there, it's coming out at over 30 PSI. It would take a cow off of his feet and suck him right down through it. I know Mr. Grimes has seen it. I know some of the others have seen that.
Right.
But, it's a bad event, and it's, affecting me, and I just don't want to have to continue to spend $70,000 every storm.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I could.
Yes.
I am very familiar with the project. One of the other issues we're going to face is goes onto private land, okay? And water's going to go to the natural fall, right? So down there where Mr. Smith lives, beyond his place, his neighbor, they closed the road down many years ago. That's a private road. They removed the culvert out of the road. It goes further down the road into another neighbor that reduced culvert size down the road. But this is all private. The county can't go in there. If I had the easements tomorrow, we could probably help with a fix. But the problem is it turns into private drainage. And I can't spend our resources and our time working on private property. We go through this on a very, very regular basis.
Yep.
If there was another way to get it there, we actually went down and looked, see if we could send it further southeast on 309. The problem is it comes up to a hill there and it tries to cross and go down by the fire station. There's really nowhere else to put this water and make it go. Before it hits private land. And the water goes under 309. It's gone underneath 309 my entire life right there. It's in a different spot. It's always gone through that 48-inch box culvert. What's changed down the road, down the way, is really unknown because we didn't do it. So we're going to take this and put it in front of you guys that maybe there is something we can do. I don't know. We can open up an investigation. We can do all the looking we want to do, but it's going to come back to all this water is ending into private land.
Right.
If I could make one comment on that, just to say how I feel about it. And you're right about going on to private property. But somebody has got to police that when somebody comes in and removes a culvert and moves something or stops up a water flow from going in one direction to another. To give an example of that, if I had a drain field that malfunctioned and it had sewage dumping out on my property, the county would certainly come down to me and say, Mr. Smith, you've got to fix that, or otherwise we're going to have to come in here and declare this a problem and we'll fix it and bill you for it. Somebody has got to maintain that. You know, I was given by your office the property owners' names up and down that street, and I don't know whether I was supposed to go knock on doors and say, hey, we need to address this situation, but I don't think an individual should be faced with that. But we still don't know how the road was designed and engineered and where the water was originally supposed to go, especially at that box culvert termination. You know, that water that comes out of there at 30 PSI has blown a rut through now Mr. Russell's property, and he says, I'll be darned if I'm going to have that, and has covered all that up. So now it's going to create a major problem in the event we have another storm or hurricane, and that's going to happen. So, I'm still at a, not quite understanding how we're going to address it, but I do appreciate everybody listening to my concerns.
Thank you.
I'll be in touch.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time with Mr. Smith. He has a wonderful spot right down there on the river. The road was put in back in the 50s. I'll bet 30% of those homes were probably not there in the 50s. Some of them were. But in that time, there have been a bunch of ownership changes. Every owner goes in there and customizes their property a little bit and exacerbates this problem more and more and more and more. And that area just does not have good drainage. There's not a public easement there with good drainage. I got you.
The gentleman who built the house did a great job.
Yep, and his driveway's in a really bad spot, and that's just the way it is. So short of a big countywide management program, water, drainage program, a project in that space would require a ton of property owner consent to get the right of way. It would probably be a state appropriation for the size of the program. And maybe we get there one day, but it's going to be a toughie.
I gave Mr. Grimes a avenue at one point. I said, I'll give you a right of way down my driveway. You guys take the water right down there. Dig it up, put it down to the river, but I would like to see an engineered set of drawings that prove what you're going to do is going to work.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank
I
you.
think you made your point. Thank you. And then one other thing I'll discuss. I know Aaron Smith's still here. The cell phone tower concerns, just for the record, the Zoning Board of Adjustment considered a variance application for setback reduction on April 15th. As a companion application for the special use permit for a communication tower on the same property, the ZBOA approved the issuance of the SUP to allow the communication tower. However, the applicants withdrew the variance application prior to the public comment section of the public meeting. At this time, the applicants are observing the 30-day appeal period. Once the appeal period has terminated and no appeals are made, our department may receive an application for development review. So we're in the appeal process, and you have to just go through the appeal process. That's a legal way to handle this situation.
Yes, I understand that. My concern is with the way that the land development code states, there's lots of things in there to evaluate, that the towers actually have lots of things, health, safety, general welfare, that are to consider for these structures. They're not inert. And so my understanding is the time of review of the application, it was received February 3rd, and the letters went out to the abutters March 31st. So there was a month of consideration. I mean, there wasn't even wildlife evaluation. We've got eagles in the area. There's lots of things about these towers that shouldn't be rushed through. And so the community feels like our input has not been considered. We don't need or want this tower here, and now we're at the point where instead of actually being allowed to hear our concerns, now we have to hire a lawyer to appeal it. And this is a board that's appointed. We don't vote for them. And the meetings are during the week. So I have a lot of people that would love to be here to speak with you guys, or at the prior board meeting, and weren't able to be there. And so with something like this, the difference between, the application is designed to mislead the county. It's not T-Mobile, it's an investment company applying, using T-Mobile as the reason. And if you're not taking the time to understand that, or validate the objectives in their slides, it's at the behest, like, it's, you're filling the pockets of investors at the expense of the residents. Like, there's no consideration for us. We don't want this tower, we don't need it. And so now.
Did you speak at the ZBOA meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
So then you did have an opportunity to speak?
Yes.
Okay, and so did other people?
Yes, there was, but then there was a lot of people, there was a lot of confusion that a lot of people thought because the applicant pulled their application for the variance that the tower was done. And so, yes, there was a sign for 14 days at the site, but not everyone noticed. There's still a lot of people finding out now about it. And so I think it would have been great to have more of a community input on our needs, because there's also fiber out there, which is much safer for us, more effective, like in an emergency, than a tower.
So there's fiber on West River Road?
For business, yes, there's been multiple people that have confirmed they've got business fiber. For residents, they say it's not available for residents. I don't know why that is, but the infrastructure is there. And that is more reliable. A tower, if we have a hurricane and they lose power, now for me, where I can't get a resident line and I don't have power, I can't call on my cell phone. But if I had fiber, that was much more secure and I can call in an emergency. So that's another concern. I think it just went so fast that all these things weren't considered beforehand. There was no wetlands evaluation.
When you're making these assertions, you've confirmed all of that? You've confirmed that none of those things that you've just said were done?
Which ones? Wetlands?
All of them. I mean, you said there was no wetlands determination, there was no.
That was discussed in the board, that was discussed in the
Okay.
board meeting.
Okay.
A lot of these things, though, you don't have time. It's such a deep topic, right? And so when you find out from the public, like at the notice, I found out 3 days before the meeting, trying to understand what is involved in this. And then you just start learning after the fact. There's a lot of information out there designed to confuse us, right? And so, I mean, just understanding the difference between the applicant being an investment company versus T-Mobile, we're being told better cell service. Well, they're going to decorate that whole structure. If it was really cell company, it would just be one antenna on a 50-foot pole. That's it. Not 265 feet of multiple things. And it.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Sorry, there's a lot of misinformation.
Yeah, there is.
Let me just start as the lawyer with the legal side of it. So, local governments are prohibited from regulating the placement of wireless-based services based on the effects of radio frequency emissions. And that has been the law since the 1996 Federal Telecommunications Act under 47 USC 332. As far as what a pole looks like, there are state laws that then say any of these communication towers that are put up have to make themselves available to our public safety system. So there are certain regulations that go along with that. As far as brokers going around for the placement of these towers, that's been happening for the past 20 years. That's the process they go through. So when they say that they represent or that they're looking at T-Mobile or Verizon or AT&T or any of the other providers, what happens is people buy space on the tower. That just happens to be who they intend to sell it to. But that's also not a basis that we can use to deny the application. So I just want to be clear that, first off, this is not an appeal hearing.
Correct.
In addition to people being able to come to the actual hearings, we do accept telephone calls, emails, letters. There are other ways that people can provide their input to the deciders of fact. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And the appeal process is what?
Friday.
Can you
So with the denial, it gets appealed to the court system, and then they can move to join that system, or if they're the actual appellant, they can intervene that way.
But they have the right to appeal it?
They do.
Any person in the community has the right to appeal it?
Not any person. You have to demonstrate to the court system that you're an affected party.
Okay, that you're an affected party. Thank you. Did you want to speak, Mr. Alexander?
I'd like to ask Zach Baker to come forward, please.
Madam Chair, while he's coming forward, just from somebody that's built a tower in the county, because we just built a communication system, just so maybe she gets a little understanding as the process goes. So the wetlands delineation study has to be done, the wildlife study has to be done, the archaeological study has to be done, after it goes to ZBOA. So like even when we had to build our communication tower, we still had to go through all those steps. I had to have artifact hunters come out. They'd look through the site. We had to have gopher tortoises removed. We had to do all of that kind of stuff before we could ever even get the FCC clearance for the tower. So there is a lot of steps beyond the ZBOA of that approval process, because we had to live it too, right? When we had to build our public safety radio communications tower system, we were a year and a half getting permits and studies and geotechs and all of the things. So just for your, so you do have a little relief, those things will get done.
Okay, thank you.
I guess my question is, why wouldn't that be done before the permit's approved? Because
There was never a permit approved. It's a placement for zoning.
Yep.
Is all that was approved.
And that's why I was bringing Zach forward, so he can address some of your other concerns and whether it conforms to the zoning of that area, and if there are other issues or some other things that might not be true that may have been presented to you. So Zach, would you like to weigh in on this at all? Yes, I know.
Yeah, for the record, Zach Baker. I will answer any questions from the board if you have any.
Do you see any problems with this tower being placed on that property as far as zoning, setbacks? Obviously, the setback they removed. What other issues do you see?
It's undetermined at this time until the application comes in for Development Review Committee review. We don't know the placement of that tower. They did get the special use permit, so it is compliant with the zoning district, which is agriculture for that property.
Okay.
And those have been done in other parts of the county?
Yes, ma'am. We have another one under review right now.
Okay, all right.
Gotcha.
Right. Hopefully, Ms. Smith, that cleared up a little bit of your questions, but if you want to move forward with an appeal process, if you're an affected party.
all right, thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. Are there any commissioner committee updates, starting with Commissioner Alexander?
Just wanted to give the community update that Mr. Commando and I are working on the no-wake policy for down near Dunn's Creek that we had discussed a couple weeks ago. I'll give you guys an update and present it to you for your review later, hopefully at the next meeting, so you guys can take a look at it. I got some pictures too to go with it and get y'all's feedback.
Thank you for your transparency on this.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And as far as anything else, that's really all that's our focal point right now at that committee. Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Newbold?
I don't have any. Wrong button. I don't have any committee updates. I was going to put forth a few comments, but
You want to do them during commissioner comments? Or you want to do them right now?
I'll pass my commissioner comments. You can run us that much farther. I'll hit it at the next meeting.
It doesn't matter. We're all going to have some. It doesn't matter. We're here to serve. We'll just, whatever time it takes, it takes. Commissioner Harvey?
I have no updates, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Pelletier?
I have none.
You have none. All right. Any appointments? Commissioner Alexander?
No, ma'am.
Commissioner Newbold?
None.
Commissioner Harvey?
Madam Chair, I have no appointments, but I do have a question.
Sure.
At the last meeting, Commissioner Palacier resigned off the CRA, and I think I'd like to go ahead and see if we have a commissioner willing to do that. I believe we have one in that area, but I'll leave that up to you to tell me how you want to handle that.
So I appreciate that. I would like to get some clarity from the CRA board, because there's a little confusion in the agenda item they had. The letter that was drafted that I never received but was part of the package asked for Commissioner Alexander. However, their resolution says District 2, which is me. So I need that board to weigh in and tell me what they want. That's where I'm at.
Can I ask a
Sure.
point of clarity? Mr. Commando, is that up to them to tell us who they want, or is it up to us to tell them?
It's up to us. You can ask me that. It is up to us.
Okay.
It's up to us. But at the end of the day, I also have some concerns regarding Commissioner Alexander, because what was stated at both meetings, at the CRA meeting and stated here by a citizen regarding conflicts of interest, any kind of perceived conflict, I have some concerns about that. So I'm not sure.
I think I'd rather us, as a Board of County Commissioners, decide who we want to put on there. And if there's any conflicts of interest with somebody that we have, then they can satisfy that requirement if they feel like that's a problem.
Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized.
Yes, ma'am, I appreciate your concerns. There's perceived conflicts of interest every day in our community, but it's my understanding, I would assume that you're referring to my brother, Jeremy Alexander. It is my understanding that he received a grant from the CRA within the last year or two, and he's not eligible to receive any additional grants for a 10-year time frame. So hopefully that'll put some of those issues to rest.
Well, so I've been thinking about this, and I went back to when we took our ethics class, and there's something in there on Florida statute, and I took some pictures, and so I had to go back and look at this. And I just don't want to put you in a bad position. I really, really, really don't. I think that it's not just your brother. It's who your brother, any client your brother represents, the firm that he works for. So every time Douglas Law Firm comes forward, are you going to have to recuse yourself? I don't know. I'm not the attorney, but it
But with that
says
being said, you would have to recuse yourself from real estate deals because you work for a realtor.
I don't disagree with you, and I have done that.
You have on occasion, but not all. So I think it's a case-by-case basis.
Florida Statute 112.3136, public officers, employees, and local government attorneys are prohibited from using or attempting to use their public position or resources to secure a special benefit, privilege, or exemption for themselves or others. Let me finish. Particularly to obtain, it's called a disproportionate benefit for themselves, spouse, or children, employer, any business entity with whom they contract or serve with or have an interest in. So, I mean, if you want to serve, I'm not going to fight you on it, but I am going to go on record to say this because I do have that concern, because it was brought up at both the CRA meeting and it was brought up here whenever Ms. Kitchens came forward.
But Madam Chair, I think, as I still have the floor, if you don't mind.
Yes, you do.
3 of us cannot serve, no doubt. So Commissioner Newbold is down in South Putnam. I'm in West Putnam. Commissioner Palatka has already resigned off of that. So it leaves 2 of us on there, okay? I don't have a problem with a commissioner in ethics. I believe they take ethics class. I believe we're all ethical people, and if there's a conflict of interest, they'll make an ethical decision at that time. And I just think that I was thinking about it since Commissioner Palatka resigned, that we need to have somebody on that, and we decide who we put on there other than they tell us who to put on. I've always had that problem with any boards that we appoint. I don't want to be told who to put on there. I want to be able to do what we feel is best for our board. So I would like to put Commissioner Alexander on the CRA board.
All right, you making a motion?
That's my motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I'm just curious, is that a year long forevermore, or how long does that have a term limit on it, or how does that work?
I don't know we've ever talked about. There might be a committee or two I might want to hand over to you.
Well, I was going to comment, I was going to make the dynamics of that board will be changing in January.
Yes, sir.
And we could see things change down there and our representative change here.
True.
Just comment.
Now, with that being said, to Madam Chair, is it specific to the commissioners that represent the CRA district? Because I know that when you and I were, when I looked at it, and it sounds like you were addressing it too, the CRA representative from the commission should cover that territory?
Well, that's, the resolution says that. That's why I'm saying it's
So
confusing,
nobody-
because it also says, it specifically says District 2. So that's why I was looking for their guidance, simply because it almost contradicts it. because a portion of my area does cover the CRA, but the majority
Is in
of
mine.
the CRA is yours.
Yep. But that would preclude any of the other three from being eligible.
Correct, I agree with that.
Okay, so it's you or I,
Correct,
and I have the majority of the territory.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, all of that's true. All right, where are we at?
Appointment
Pardon me? Clerk of
of
court?
committee reports. I
Oh,
think we all
committee
went through.
reports. Did you, he said none? I have none either. All right, any comments by clerk of courts? County attorney?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. So since it came up in our conversation today, I did pull the list of our pending litigation and just to run through those with y'all. So there's a case called McCamey versus Putnam County, which is a personal injury lawsuit. There's a Petrie versus Putnam County, which is also a Putnam County personal injury lawsuit. As we discussed, there's the Nelson versus Putnam County case, which is related to Chimera Way. There's a Holland versus Putnam County, which is also a personal injury lawsuit. Excuse me. There's the Olender Family Trust, which just closed, which was a lawsuit disputing the amount of money that should be paid for property taxes. There was the case that you, the Pavilion at Crescent Lakes, you just approved the settlement, but it's still technically pending. Excuse me. And then we were just sued. We haven't been served by an organization called Justice Transitions Incorporated, and there's a named defendant with that as well, where we're being sued on the sexual offender ordinance that we just created the enhancements for. So we're being sued on that issue too. So we're going to waive service on that, and then we'll file a response. But that is all the pending litigation that we have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
County administrator?
Keep hitting the wrong button up here today for some reason. Anyway, just the first thing is a reminder of the 5:05 meeting at our next meeting, which is May 26th, is a budget meeting. So we talked about it at the last commission meeting. We want to make sure everybody keeps it on their calendar for a 5:05 at the next meeting. And then just some housekeeping comments on, honestly. Again, I can't say enough about staff and the audit that we received again this year. You know, we went through a time where we went through the legislative audit. We all know about that. Then we went through where we had to clean up a few things that we all inherited. We took care of those, you know, and now we're moving forward. And, you know, to be able to receive a clean audit for the last 2 years, I think is a testament to the processes that we put in place here and the people that we have working here. And so, you know, I can't say that enough, and how much we appreciate that and the fact that they are watching out for the taxpayer dollars, the public dollars. So thank you, staff, for all of that. Again, spirited conversation at the dais today between commissioners and staff. However, those need to happen from time to time. Those are conversations that were created by organizations outside of the BOCC.
That's correct.
Okay? You five had a lot dropped on you today from those other organizations. I think Mr. Grimes, Ms. Young, they handle those conversations really well. They do not sugarcoat nothing. They tell you straight up what you need to hear. Okay?
It's exciting.
We also have those conversations, and we bring solutions to the table.
Right.
Okay? I heard a couple things today. We had no idea that these are going to be dropped on you guys today. However, our staff sitting here at the dais found you a workable solution, you know, to bring back, to fix some of those issues that were not created by your folks. So I just want to say thank you again to them for that, because that is the ability that they are given, the empowerment they are given, is to have those difficult conversations in a public arena, because that's what they're charged to do frankly by me, because they are the subject matter experts. Okay? So I just want to say thank you publicly to them. It's a tough spot to be in sometimes when you're sitting on this side of the dais. However, they don't shy down and they don't back down from making the comments that need to be made, and they find solutions for you five to be able to answer the concerns in the community. You know, so those are my comments today as far as the meeting today. Chair Wilson, we'll get together, look at our calendars, and reach out to the school board in the city. We also have another project that you and I with the help of Mr. Grimes, is probably going to push through as well. So we'll get those scheduled in the next couple of days and see where we're at. Other than that, that's my comments for today, Madam Chair. Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you. Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized for comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to agree and with Mr. Suggs regarding the audit. I hate to use such a childish term, but that's awesome. You guys to have 2 years in a row without any findings. I don't do that with my checkbook in a year's time, so I think that's pretty amazing for the amount of volume that you guys pass through there. Again, as Mr. Suggs said, it was some spirited conversation today, but it was done with respect. It's never going to be rainbows and unicorns up here all the time, every day. But these are conversations that have to be had. They have to be done with respect. But when we walk out of here, we all walk out here and understand that we had these conversations for the benefit of our community. And nothing changes regarding that. So I thank my fellow commissioners for being candid and open and transparent, as well as staff, Mr. Grimes especially. He has unique solutions, and sometimes we put him on the spot, and he's pretty agile. He can figure a way out. I thank you for that. So that's all I got today.
All right, Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
I don't have a whole ton, may open up a little something here. I understand there has been a little bit of new information received on the Fort Gates Ferry subject. Is there anything that can be shared there?
The newest information I'm aware of is information that came out of the title searches. There's something other than that.
I think that's it.
Okay, well, the title search showed that we have some type of ownership or partial ownership or some ownership on the Fort Gates Ferry side, depending on where the actual facility was built. Make sure that it matches the legal description that's included within the deed itself. Cross over the river to the forest side, we have no ownership. And so we're going to have to look at what we want to do over there. That'll be a direction of U5. But as of the title search, there's no ownership within that road right away, all the way down to the river and down to the facility itself. And there's no ownership of the facility itself, nor do we have submersible leases on either side of the river at this time.
Okay, thank you. I was maybe going to propose a little action, but I think I'll wait until we find out if the apparatus on the Fort Gates Ferry side is actually in the area in which we own. After we get that determination, we'll probably propose a little action. So thank you.
All right, anything else?
That's the last of my comments.
Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I do appreciate the audit. It's nice to see years of, clean audits kind of drowns out the sound bites that we've been hearing lately. Truly, our government's transparent, and you can see anything that you want to see in our government. Most of the time we do inherit problems, and that's what we're sitting up here listening to. Gosh knows we go out to Interlaken and we inherited land problems. And on the drive in this morning, I'm looking at this driveway way up the hill. It's fixing to get paved. And I know where that water is coming to. It's going to come to County Road 315, And there's no culvert there. There's no stopping it, and we're going to inherit that problem. We inherit problems all the time. But I enjoy our citizens coming to us, holding us to the fire, expecting us to solve problems that we can solve, and we do try to solve those. We try to solve them in a public forum like we're doing today, and that's just a wonderful example of government in action. I don't believe in a liberal policy of me spending money to fix every cat in the world or dog. I'll say that. I tried to fix my neighbor's cat because Frank was doing the same thing that other cats were doing. The lady didn't want Frank to be fixed. So I can't help that, but I offered to do it just because I didn't want cats in my neighborhood either that I mean, I'm an animal lover. If I want a cat, I'll bring a cat home. If I want a dog, I'll bring a dog home. But I'm not going to spend taxpayers' money on something else like that. I'm just not going to do it. The other thing this coming Saturday night, don't forget, is the Leo Granger puts on private first-class Jenkins Scholarship Dinner at the elementary school there on 315. And I've sent y'all information if you'd like to attend. That's how they raise their scholarships, to take care of giving scholarship money to kids and also taking care of the cemetery. So if you can avail yourself on that on Saturday night, you're more than welcome to be out to the private first-class Jenkins Scholarship Dinner. Madam Chair, that is the end of my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Pellister, you're recognized.
Well, I'll come back to it. It went off on my phone, but anyhow. Mr. Suggs gets a big attaboy on the temperature control of this room today. It's, I don't need my parka, thankfully. So, I appreciate that. I know y'all heard the rain and so thankful for it, and I'm waiting for this. There it is. There's lots more coming. So I'm very glad to see that. But we are still burn ban in effect. Is that correct? Okay, very good. Just want to remind everybody about that. Maybe this will be lifted with, if we get inches here in this today and tomorrow, because they say we're going to get some more tomorrow. That's what they're calling for. Y'all know I always like to give attaboys. Mr. Suggs got one. But I had an interaction with, and it was a positive one, and it was not a negative, with one of our deputies Sunday morning down in the South End. And just a very, very nice officer, Officer Grajka. He is Polish. Just a nice young man. Gave me a good story of how he came to this country, and he actually lives in St. John's and chooses to work in Putnam. And just a nice fellow, just an asset to have with us. I wish the sheriff had stayed to hear my comments, but he's certainly an asset to that agency, and just doing a great job. Like I say, young man, just a real success story, coming to our country and becoming a law enforcement officer and moving up and just doing really well. I think he's been with our agency 5-6 years, something like that. Said he definitely likes the South End better than the West End. Hate to tell you that, Larry. And same on me, same on me. But anyhow, I think that is it. I will be reaching out to the school board about the issues on Horsemen's Club. Mr. Leary, who's chairman of the board, I'll be speaking with him and seeing if we can't come up with some joint conversation or joint teamwork on possibly fixing that. And I think that is it for me, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Suggs, your light's on?
Yes, ma'am. I apologize. There was one more item that staff would like for me to bring up today, and that is the old facilities out at Animal Control, as well as the solid waste out at the landfill. As you know, we've got new facilities built at both locations, and we'd like to see if we can get a wave of support for us to move forward on bringing the appropriate paperwork forward to go ahead and do a demo of those facilities and get them removed.
Well, yeah, right. So you're saying it would then come on our agenda after you do the appropriate paperwork, or what are you asking for?
Yes, so we come back on the agenda.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I think it needs to come back for approval to take it off of our asset, and then we'll move forward with demo.
Okay, thank you.
Can we add the bank building to it right over here?
Yeah, seriously. Serious discussion, that's good.
We'll put all the paperwork together, bring it back, and we'll have further discussion in the next meeting.
Demolition.
Yeah, take it down.
All right, sounds like everybody's good with that? Everybody's good with that? Yep.
I got
All right. So a couple things I want to bring up. I received an update, and I want to thank Marshall Fulgham, who's the interim executive director for Keep Putnam Beautiful. They wanted to provide the first quarter for 2026 and second quarter report. I don't think we're quite through the second, are we? Total community volunteer hours, 754.5 hours. Total trash removed, 13,170 pounds. He states all boat ramps are being monitored, with 3 requiring weekly pickups. They have a new sponsor that has completed their information to sponsor the riverfront boat ramps. And they have a new sponsor that's completed their information to sponsor a county road in the Pinal area. So thank you to Keep Putnam Beautiful and everything you guys continue to do for Putnam County. An announcement we received from Town of Pomona Park that they would like to personally invite everybody to attend the Town of Pomona Park's great celebration taking place on Saturday, May 16th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Mayor's Park and the surrounding community areas in Pomona Park. So come down and learn a little bit more about Pomona Park's history and celebrate with them. A couple other things going on in the community this weekend. We have the Wolfson's Bass Tournament. Is that right, Mr. Suggs? Wolfson's Bass Tournament. We also have the Farmers Market downtown, so a lot going on downtown. I want to say thank you for everybody who was able to attend and recognize Tim Smith and the new customer service rebuild. I'm very proud of that. This Board of County Commissioners continues to improve the working spaces and infrastructure for our citizens and staff, and it turned out really nice. I want to personally thank Julie McLean. She was the project manager on that, and it turned out really, really good. I also want to say again how proud we are of our firefighters and first responders for everything they did during our fires and everything they continue to do in Putnam County to help keep our county safe. And then lastly, I want to bring up something that I mentioned to Miss Julianne about the possibility of getting shade for the dog runs out at the Animal Control Park, Animal Services Building. We put in the dog runs, but they don't necessarily have shade. And she's got an initial cost estimate. I was going to use discretionary funds, but if any of my fellow colleagues would like to pitch in $20,000 or $25,000, let me know. Let Julianne know. I got one from Commissioner Alexander. He'll pitch in. What's your number? 25 then?
Put me on the spot now. I don't know, what did you contribute?
I'm the rest of it, which is about a lot more than that, but I don't. Yeah, it's okay.
Madam Chair, let me check my pocketbook and see what I've got.
Okay, all right, get back. So,
Madam Chair, I need to do,
okay. Me or him?
Are you saying I'm the most conservative commissioner? Is that what you're saying?
no.
Anyway,
Madam Chair,
sounds like we've got some support and we can get with you on what we want to do, but
Yes, if everybody can just let me know, the project's gonna have to be bid, so we'll go ahead and put the bid
yeah, I
together,
didn't
but
want
I
to
do
throw a
need to know
number
where the
out
budget's gonna come
because
from.
it had to be bid, but yeah, I was thinking something like that.
Madam Chair, I met with Julianne and Mr. Suggs this week and spent a lot of money, so I have to see what kind of balance I have
It's fine if
left.
you don't.
I'll be glad to help if I can, so.
Anyway, we would like to see the shade over those runs now that it's getting hotter, and we didn't have the funds at the exact time when we built that out there, but we do want to see that that area covered and usable and just better for our animals out there. With that, that's all I have. Is there anything else to come before the board? And we are in a drought, still in a drought condition, and a burn ban that was signed yesterday. So I know it's raining right this moment, but that doesn't mean we're still not in drought conditions. All right, with that, this meeting is adjourned.